Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Giuseppe Montesano, Naughty Thumbnails, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, JMails24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Endless, Goldie McKiernan, Phoenix Rising 86, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Yourself well.
Or he's a jolly good fellow, or he's a jolly good fellow, or he's a jolly good fellow.
Just one
nobody
second.
can deny.
Thanks, D. Rose. Apocryphon just left, Nathan. He wanted to apologize for yesterday. He had a medical emergency. I don't know if you know, he's dealing with his, got some liver diagnosis. It's not looking good for him. And he started not feeling well. He started throwing up and getting dizzy, and he had to go to a hospital. So he asked us to apologize in his name. He had to leave.
Who you were talking about? Sorry. Who were you talking about?
Apocryphon or whatever. Like, I can't pronounce his name.
Yes,
guy who created the show yesterday.
Apocryphon, yeah.
He's terminally ill, is he not?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, he announced that. He announced that on his.
Rose.
Yeah, that's crap.
You know what I'm saying? That's
obviously
messed up because he announced that he did that on his asylum thing, that he's gonna have to pass it over because he doesn't know how long he's gonna live. Literally, like less than 6 months or 6 months.
Damn, I was gonna come hard on him today too. Sorry, that's out.
Yeah, there's no need for that, Neil. I don't know. What did he do that he deserves that, bro?
Well, that's another. You allowed that 10-minute bull crap in the beginning, and then you were agreeing when Nathan went to find the video. I heard you agreeing with Jaron.
Well, and that's why I had initially I was trying to explain to Elijah why I was speaking to him during that time when Elijah called me a dump, because I already knew about that. So I was asking him, considering his health issues, was he going to put himself up to doing that? You know, because if he was, then cool, because, at least we know him, and it's not going to be some stranger that we don't know where Nathan is ambushed, and just to see if he was physically up to it or even emotionally up to it, because I know I would not be. If I'm on my turn.
Anyway, what kind of freaking beginning was that? He's lucky I wasn't there. I would have smacked the shit out of him so hard his wife would have felt it. Talking about Jaron.
Yeah. Well, Jaron was basically projecting all through the thing, because everything that he said in his whiny domestic violence victimized wife voice dissertation about how Nathan behaves and how, he did exactly what he accused Nathan of. And Nathan was poised, professional, and all he did is rumpus and just he then he gonna play stupid like he don't know what muting is without the technical aspect. He knows what it is.
Sound like an idiot to turn around and say he doesn't cause pressure. Pressure causes the water to boil. Is he a freaking? What is wrong with? Is there something mentally wrong with that cat?
Yeah, because then he said, let's say, for instance, let's pretend, Nathan, that what are 400 degrees, 500 degrees, and the water doesn't boil. Then what? I'm like, I put in there, you need to throw away that secondhand jacked up oven. Because, I mean, what are you talking about?
All this, how many times, how much vitamin C am I going to give a person? Give him the whole fucking bottle, you moron.
Right, and kill him.
I'm pissed off today.
Yeah, he would kill his clinician volunteers for the experiment that come in the volunteer. He'd give them 1,000 pills and kill them before they got to the 10th pill. He's stupid. Jaron, you're stupid. You're arrogant ignoramus. That's you epitomize that label.
And he says what his wishes are, that we would keep his name out of our mouth. I'm gonna mention you every day, you jerk. You're a moron that does not understand the scientific method. You're an idiot if you think the sextant is a bad argument and an elevation angle is a bad argument. You are a freaking idiot.
Neil, don't be hating.
Who's that?
Yeah, I also just think it's just confusion. It's confusing. With a lot of contradicting information out there, and he has a philosophical viewpoint at this current time, and that is blocking them. I don't think there's malice at all when it comes to Jared. This is my point of view. I don't expect anybody to agree with me or not. But I listened actually after the show and went over to Hammers and him and Hammer having a conversation, right? And you could hear there is sincerity in his voice, but there's a lot of confusion out there. Even if you do go to any .edu site, I mean, or some at least, I can see why he's confused. But if you go to certain .edu sites and they detail
hold on.
the scientific method, it's clear.
Neil, the guy's in the middle of talking. Neil, thank you.
Freak out of here.
It's clear. It's good. Look, you know what? Jaron brought me here, right? And I will always thank him for that. No, regardless of what. Right? And listening to him afterwards, right, I could hear what he was saying to Hammer. There's no malice there, or I at least didn't see any malice. So he's trying to figure things out from where I'm sitting, and I'll end my comment there.
Pardon me. Did you hear the beginning when he was given 25 minutes to speak, and you're saying
no, I
there's
guess
no
that
malice?
part was cut out for him.
Yeah, you must have missed that because all he didn't speak on the topics of science. He didn't speak on the topics of this. The only time he did that is when he tried to say how ridiculous Nathan sound, or FED in general, including you, considering you're part of it, that he used to be part of, that he brought to FED, are ridiculous for making these arguments. But most of his dissertation was about how Nathan was a piece of shit prick, pretty much in his opinion, and how bad Nathan treated Bob and he maliciously defamed and slandered Nathan again and FED in general. Right? And I can understand because his master teacher, rest in peace, Bob, has passed away, and he doesn't like the fact that when he was living, he was exposed, and he's still being exposed, including him and his Austin never gets it, wits it. Okay, so, but there was malice in what he had to say. Go back and listen to the beginning.
Besides that, this guy saying he wants to learn. Nathan was right there explaining it to him. What's the matter? Not good enough?
No, I
He didn't
totally
wanna learn
get that.
shit.
That's not my point. That's not my point. If I'm not sure if you guys actually went to go listen to him afterwards or not. But yeah, I did sit through everything, by the way, and I did listen to everything. You can hear clearly it might be emotional, and there might be things that have triggered him. I don't know. He needs to speak on that. But there was sincerity from where I'm seeing. He's just confused. He doesn't understand where there was a bait and switch when it comes to the scientific method and why this kids were greased for certain departments within those fields to say that it doesn't prove. Whereas you can research right now, go check any. This morning, I researched like 5.edu sites, contradicting information, right? But when it comes to the scientific method, it's clear. It says it. It proves and it disproves. Whereas you would find like other .edu sites says that, or Scientific American says, yeah, it doesn't prove anything. It's just a misconception. So I can understand based on his research there is confusion, and he's trying to work through it. And he said it himself. He loves the show, right? He loves the show, and he appreciates the show, but he's confused from where I'm sitting.
Hold on. Yeah, that's where I was. That's where I was. That he doesn't understand. Before yesterday. Now, unfortunately, that moment has come and passed because, see, his confusion about the EDUs, yeah, I understood that before he spoke to Nathan. Nathan was trying to give him the epistemology behind all of this. The formation of the hypothesis and what is a hypothesis versus what is not. And he's not willing. Maybe it's Nathan he's not willing to accept it from. I don't know who he will accept it from, but you got to be able to use your own discernment and your own brain. When someone is giving you an epistemology versus someone giving you rhetoric, Nathan was giving him form, and he was rejecting form because he couldn't think his way through the difference between someone trying to tell him something and someone giving him something that he himself has to scrutinize as an individual. And for me, from my standpoint, because he wasn't able to grasp that yesterday, I don't really foresee him grasping that at all.
Can I interject?
Which is very unfortunate.
Hey, Elijah, I'm with you 1,000%. But the reason why he couldn't grasp it because it came from Nathan. Nathan is what's blocking his brain cells from being able to absorb it. Number two, he admitted that he used to love the show, whoever said that. Not now, because in his 25-minute dissertation, he talked about how it used to be good, how him and his wife used to like it.
And then he changed in the Nathan.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad.
He's
just unbearable, even though his argument.
I reject.
Guys, you're going to have to stop talking through each other. I know you've got a lot to say, and you can all get a chance to say it. But if you just talk through it, no one can hear what's being said.
I'll be done soon, Aaron, so you can say what you got to say.
I just wanted to do Jaron.
And as far as the whatever y'all said, he looked over. And yes, Nathan and FED admit that the mainstream scientific community, with their documents and journals, have poisoned the lake, have corrupted science, the scientific method. Even the people calling themselves scientists have even admitted, like Michi Kuku said, we don't use that conventional method. So there's no excuse to say that FED or Nathan does not acknowledge that, admit that, and denounce that. And that's why Nathan is here to clarify that and to explain to everybody in the same position as Jaron, who sees the misconstrued definition of and the explanation of and the contradictory of science. He was there for that. And like Elijah said, he gave him the epistemology of it, not his own opinion or the rhetoric. So Jaron has, since yesterday, there's no fucking excuse for Jaron on this subject.
Just about, my stream deck is really crapping out. That could be a problem. Okay, please try not to swear. I know you're all very het up, and I appreciate why.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Just a note to everybody. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
No, it only exists in the maths below surface level.
Oh, it's going to be slow and sluggish today when I'm doing these super chats. I'm really sorry, pressing every button manually. Shout out to Jardo, who says Jaron was right. I'd like to correct Neil for what he said in the pre-show. Okay, Jardo, I don't really know what you mean, but fine. Thanks for the super chat. So, Earth curve, any evidence thereof?
So you're actually pushing buttons today?
I'm pushing them with my mouse instead of on a little black. About, I don't know, it's probably 4 years ago now. Anthony Riley reached out and said, I want to buy you a present. I'm like, okay. And he just sent me a stream deck. Really, really kind of him. And I've been using it ever since. And today, or yesterday when it crapped out in the middle of the show, I was like, all right, fine, it's crapped out, I'll just use the mouse. But obviously at that point, everything's already loaded. And all the buttons to load each program are all on one page of the Stream Deck. So I'll start my show and just press all the buttons one after the next, and all the programs load, and then I just move them around into the place I want them. Well, I couldn't do that today. So I'm like, oh dear, that's not very good. I think I've coiled the wire up too much and damaged the connection. Anyway, let's not dwell on my Stream Deck. I'll sort that out. I haven't actually got 200 quid to replace one, so I might take it down to my tech guy and ask him if he can resolder the connection or so he can fix it. Maybe I'll be able to salvage it. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Jardo. Maybe you can clarify in the chat what you meant.
Yeah, please clarify.
You said
Neil's never wrong.
What was the question? Is there any sign of Earth curvature?
Yeah, physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curvature.
You're going to need a flat Earth for that, because all roads lead to flat Earth. We're finding out.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
That's the stupidest thing. Always saying you're going to need a flat Earth for that. It's the dumbest thing.
Self-perpetuating molten iron core, did you say?
If you work in IT, you're at
Oh, why aren't the buttons being muted? Oh, God. It's going to be one of them shows, I'm afraid.
That was great.
Hold on, let me just find out what this line is. Hold on.
high risk of IT.
Okay. Oh, that's going to be a problem as well.
You know how good that was? After I asked that question, the guy says to 10th man, did you work in IT?
I had no idea how hopelessly dependent on this Stream Deck I was. I can't be honest. I'm slightly taken aback by how flustered I am by this. But there we go. Such is life. Oh, dear. Funny stuff. Let's just check if it's muted. Yes, it is. Thank God. Okay, carry on. Molten iron core, you say?
No, I've never worked in IT. I hate IT, but no. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing.
Let's just apologise in advance. Right, this is going to be a terrible show on my part today. I'm really sorry. Right, shout out to JMels24. So, I heard there was a little debate yesterday. Someone named Jerry, Judy, Jenny, Jalen, I don't know. It was something like that. Anyway, it sounds like he really schooled you about rocks, you amateur. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Lots of sarcasm I feel in the super chats today. Maybe I'm just tired. Okay, yes, I'm sure he did school me on rocks. Thank you for the super chat.
His name is actually Jenny. It's Jenny.
Okay. Right, we've got a video. It's been on screen for ages. Let's just do the do. As always, please let this videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. I'm a lot more comfortable doing this because I typically do this with the mouse anyway. So there's the link going by, although I have to try and press a button on the Stream Deck to show you that it's going by, in the vain hope that the algorithmic love would be returned to us by this videographer were he to respond. As always, it doesn't necessarily matter about the size. This is a particularly small YouTuber, but he needs algorithmic love like anybody, and based on his size, I'm going to give him a like. So yeah, let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. We responded to your video, understanding equation of a sphere. Shouldn't there be a "the" in there somewhere? Maybe. Anyway, we're going to cover this. Any preamble, 10th?
Yeah, I think it's going to be showing where the angles are taken for a sphere, and you need a flat plane, and the arc is the surface that they want us to think we live on, the arc of the protractor, that is. And it's going to show imagery that we've seen when they say, this is how the sextant works. And obviously, the sextant must work from the surface of a sphere, which is round, but it can't, because you can't have a baseline that's curving to get the angle. So they take you somewhere. And I think the audience will see where they take you.
In this video, I will take a look at the equation that defines a sphere, and also we'll take a look at some of the tricks for manipulating the three-dimensional graphics view on the left. When the figure opens, 2 points are given, point A at the center of the sphere and located at the origin, and point B on the surface of the sphere at coordinates 3, 0, 2. First of all, if I click and drag the background on the left, the three-dimensional picture pans. One useful trick is to look down the z-axis, so you're in essence eliminating the z-axis and only considering the standard xy plane. But then clicking and dragging up allows you a more three-dimensional view. My point B is located at coordinates 3, 0, 2, and so by clicking and panning the figure on the left, we can get a better sense of that point B actually living at coordinates 3, 0, 2. I can click the button on the right to hide the sphere. And let's take a look at this equation. What is the equation of this sphere?
I'm really sorry. Why are we covering this? I'm already so bored.
It's educational. It's a Cartesian reference system, smack dab in a Globerger.
It is x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 13. And in fact, if I look at the coordinates of B, 3, 0, 2, yes, indeed, 3 squared plus 0 squared plus 2 squared equals 13. And in fact, it's important to remember that this is what defines the sphere. I'll click to show the sphere again. Every point on that...
Again? 76?
No sound is coming through on Discord.
Okay, right. Can you guys talk among yourselves for a second while I sort out the sound issue?
Yeah.
Maybe if I say I thought it went really well with Jaron yesterday, that might spark some conversation. We'll see.
I was just about to talk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
I wanted to. Sorry, Tim.
Who listened to the show yesterday? Who listened to the? Oh, forget it. Go on.
Sorry, Dave, I just wanted to ask if you can maybe just elaborate for the audience on why it's important to note that it's ridiculous for them to take it to the center of the sphere.
Well, that's the only place where they have a baseline. The vertex has to have a baseline for the 90. Of course, you can just see an angle, and it'd be an acute angle or an obtuse angle, but if you're going to be an elevation angle, it must be subtracted from 90. And so you have to have a right angle, and it becomes a right angle triangle when you consider the hypotenuse, which is the angle from the sun or star to the telescope of the sextant when it's bouncing off the two mirrors. So you need a baseline. You need to subtract from 90. And since that can't be done from the surface because it's curved on the sphere, it's always needing a vertex that could allow all that to happen. The only place that can happen is the center because it's a plane.
Yeah, but you need to have an elevation angle to a right angle. That's why
that's what I'm saying.
On the curve.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's the hypotenuse, so it's a right angle triangle, which they keep denying because they're just trying to say, well, two lines could give you an angle. Yeah, two lines do give you an angle, and the vertex is where the observer is, right? Okay. So now how do you subtract from 90? Well, that's a perpendicular because you're always subtracting from 90. It's the 90 that kills them. And you can't get a 90 on top of a sphere. You go to the center.
Exactly. And to add on top of that is who has ever been to the center of this presupposed globe? Nobody. They presuppose it based on what? The radius value, correct? Then the black swan debunks that.
Right. This is why this video today is important to understand the black swan and celestial navigation that happens from a flat plane, which is not at the center, but is actually the plane we live on, which they transpose to the center and build a protractor hemisphere above us and say we live on the arc.
Thank you, sir.
If the measurements require a flat plane, you have to take it to the center. But the measurements debunk that's ever being done from the surface that's curved.
But it couldn't be done from the center of a sphere either. Because
No, we
in the
know
center
that.
of the
No one
sphere,
can go there. I
the
get it.
observers, yeah, because the observer is always in the very center of that sphere. And the observer is doing a right angle triangle breathing away from the center of the sphere. So it wouldn't work on the sphere.
Well, it's the local, as this is your local horizon that they explain. And whatever they show at the center of the sphere is trying to mirror the reality that it's being done on a flat plane, where the most you have is a 180, which is a straight line. And directly to be perpendicular, it's 90 and 90. So still a baseline, and you subtract from 90 your angles, your elevation angles. So just the process can never happen from the surface of a sphere. So that destroys it right there, because they're saying sailors and navigators are on the surface of the sphere with this process, which is curved. So now you see why all the drawings in orthographic view have a tangent plane there, because they're transposing a plane on top where there is no plane in order to say, see, it works if you draw a tangent plane. Well, so basically you're confessing you need a baseline.
Yeah, but you cannot use a tangent, because a tangent needs to meet a curved surface. There is no curved surface. We're aiming at the horizontal, the horizon. That's why they don't have a tangent.
Want an upgrade that doesn't cost the earth in more ways than one? Buying refurbished from Music Magpie is hundreds of pounds cheaper, or save on new and refurbished devices if you rent instead. Music Magpie. Smart for you.
No, I don't work in IT.
Hold on a second. Can you hear that in Discord?
I will take a look at the...
Can you hear that in Discord? Now
Discord!
Now we can't.
The figure opens. 2 points are given. Point A at the center of the sphere and locate.
Nothing.
No, nothing. Okay, carry on chatting amongst yourselves.
Adam, you were about to say something?
Yeah, just on the point of translocation. You don't do it even from the center, from hell. But all you're doing is taking those angles that you then calculate on the flat plane and then just basically describing it on a ball. And what the switcheroo is to take it to the center. You've no longer got a baseline. You've just got that observer looking at the 2 points, and that becomes the angle, which is the translation back onto the protractor, which you think is the surface of the Earth, which you can't be the surface of the Earth, because the way you derive the angle is via a flat baseline. So it is just a demonstration or misrepresentation of the calculations you've done to be able to then draw it out on the ball. That's why they take it to the center of the Earth. They have to. You can't do it on the surface of which you've done the calculations with respect to and which you're navigating. So the only way they can represent it through the ball is to go and keep that flat plane, take it to hell, and turn the arc, the optical arc that we've got in the heavens into the spherical surface of the Earth. That's why they take it to hell.
Yeah, exactly. It's never happening.
Hold on just one sec. Can you hear this, guys in Discord?
Located at the origin, and point B on the surface of the sphere.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Can you talk for a second? Because now it sounds like I've got distortion from Discord.
Hello.
Yeah. They don't want to respond to Adam.
Sounds like I've got distortion from Discord. Please, can I hear Discord? Thank you.
Duncan from Discord.
Mic check.
Seems like there's an echo right now.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not working properly. Okay, thank you. Carry on.
Any response to Adam?
Was valuable for me. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, any response to what Adam said by anybody?
No, full agreement with Adam.
Sign of a good summation, that then, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but you can't translate that to the surface of the sphere, though. because the requirement of the 90th degree at the GP of the star. So if you are in the center of the celestial sphere with, let's say, a star above your head, 90 degrees from your position, and you are reading to a star away from you, from your position, that other star needs to have the same 90 degree, needs to be parallel to your position. You can't do that on a curved surface, because both, or in the celestial navigation, there's 3 different readings, and every single one of them, both the observer and the star need to be on the same place, because light is coming, the zeniths are converging in the same place where the observer is. It's impossible. It's not the same geometry, if I'm describing myself properly.
You are. Adam, you want to have a back and forth with me on this last statement?
Go ahead. Yeah, you go, man.
All right. So when you sight a star or sun, whatever, one of the 57 stars and sun, moon, and all that, and you rock your sextant to establish its zenith above the horizon, that's the star's 90, creating a GP on the Earth. Then, because you're using the horizon, you want to do something. And what you got to do is you say, all right, well, that's 50-degree altitude. So 50 subtract from 90 leaves 40. 40 becomes the co-altitude. And the co-altitude, the 40, defines the observer's 90. So it's a box. The box has to be 2 90s with the same baseline shared in order to get the co-altitude. So if you're on a sphere, Adam, and the observer is at an angle, a diverging zenith, the co-altitude can never give you the 40 when you subtract 50 from 90, correct?
Some more tricks for manipulating the image on the left. Let's see, I'll hide the sphere.
Can you hear that in Discord?
Yeah, we heard that.
I don't.
Notice that if I mouse over point B,
again, Nathan,
arrows
I heard
appear,
something.
4 arrows.
Are you not hearing that video play?
Not right now.
No.
No.
Okay, no worries.
You get all that, Adam?
Yeah. So just when the point I'm making there with regards to that translation to the ball is you take that co-angle, it's no longer representative of your reality. The angle has to be taken to the center of the Earth to then apply to that circumferential distance, because that's why you take the co-angle and then you relate it to R. The way they then play that out is to pretend you're traveling is to come out from the center of the Earth. You see, that's not how it's calculated. That's not how it matches reality. That's how they have to portray the angle you use if you're going to show it on a ball. The only way to demonstrate it is that way. So that's why they take it to the center. It works in the model, lovely,
Arrows
because you've taken all of the calculations, already assuming a flat plane and using a flat plane. Afterwards, however you then twist it, like I said, and this is the point, you're twisting it by taking the observer to a place that there was never observed from, to be able to describe that co-altitude angle as now the angle from the center of the Earth. Look at the switcheroo. There's no geometry there. It's just the only way you can express it onto a globe.
Can you see it from Discord again?
Hello?
Can you hear this video?
Mic check.
Are parallel to the XY plane. And so if I click and drag point B...
Yeah, we can hear that.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank God, finally. My Stream Deck constantly disconnecting and reconnecting is causing more issues than I first thought. It's changing sound input devices, which is terrible, terrible news for me. Okay, I have to dig deep and get 200 quid. Smash the super chat so I can buy a new Stream Deck. Right, I think I'm on track now. Did you want to round out whoever I just interrupted, Adam or 10th? I'm so sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
No, it's okay. I was just saying to Adam, that point was well taken that he said on the initial, but then the Discord person, I can't remember his name, said, but the surface of the sphere, you're going to require two 90s, one for the observer and one for the star itself. And I was expressing that visually by my language as being a box, because you got to take the co-altitude and establish the observer's 90 by first establishing the star's 90, because you're at sea. It's not like you can hang a plumb bob and establish your 90 first and get the same result. So that in itself, the co-altitude is forced to share the same baseline.
B is moved parallel to the xy plane with its z coordinate remaining constant. Z stays at 2. However, if I click B, new arrows appear parallel to the z-axis, and now, as I drag B, only its z-coordinate changes. So by going back and forth between horizontal movement of B and vertical movement of B, I can place B anywhere that I want to. Similarly with A, I see the arrows tell me it's only moving horizontally, so as I drag A around, it's staying in the XY plane. I'll click on it. I have vertical arrows. I'll drag it someplace else.
Quick shout, excuse me. Quick shout out to Duncan McLeod, who says, "For slamming Jaren." Oh right, okay. Thank you for the super chat.
And now I've defined my point A to be something new. I'll show the sphere again, and we have a new equation. Instead of x squared, y squared, z squared, I'm subtracting off the coordinates for point A, the point at the center of the sphere. One last trick is to use the scroll wheel. If I scroll down, I'm zooming out. If I scroll in, and if I scroll up, I zoom in. And if I drag it and release, I get a nice animation. All right, stop that. There's
Okay, I mean, there was nothing for me to... What am I going to disagree with? Is it just you showing that he's using a Cartesian grid system? Is that the main point?
Well, there's two things. This is how you must establish a radius value, which of course changes because the black swan shows that the radius value of 3959 is beyond this limitation. So it's one to show that, because it's got to be physical. So this is showing it's got to be physical. Then the other is in celestial navigation, where they always take you to what he did, which is take that sphere and make it invisible. And now he's doing everything on the Cartesian X, Y, Z, and then just putting the arc, as Adam said, and voila, there you go. You got a sphere. I mean, it's very telling.
I'm with you, Paula, from the chat. Says, this reminds me of one of those Blender presentations. I keep falling asleep whilst watching. Yeah, that's how I was feeling. I was like, my God, get me some matchsticks. No offense to the videographer. It's just not my thing. I don't know. Maybe I can ask Adam. Adam, was that good?
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
It's all right. He's obviously tied up at the moment. But yeah, I didn't have
No,
to
it's a problem.
You kept the conversation going between you and Adam while I was fiddling around with sound settings. 100 people watching. Please share the show on Facebook and Twitter if you've just got here. Very warm welcome if you have. Thank you very much. Probably only got here because someone else has shared the show already. Thank you to the regulars who shared the show. But if you haven't done so, please smash the share button.
Look, Nathan, it's a bit melodramatic after yesterday's debate. It's also offset by your technical issues today. So this video really didn't get a chance to do what it could do. So we'll just leave it there.
Fair enough. Right, now that's out of the way and we've done the housekeeping. Now, as we're halfway through the show and there's 100 people watching, feel free to have at it. You can cast your opinions about yesterday's discussion with Jaron all you like. This is going to be the opportunity because come next week, it'll be old news. So who wants to start? Feel free.
Me?
Go ahead.
No, Chai.
Go ahead.
Well, you're simply wrong. And Jaron was right. And I'll show you why. Well, what's this law of no contradiction? Who made it?
Is this another time that you say, I'll show you how, and then immediately hand the baton to me? Is that it? You done? Is this another one of those scenarios where I need to make the example for you, Chaiki?
I'd like to be next if he disqualifies himself.
that was it. That was what we got from Chaiki. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Well done.
No, that was actually perfect because I wrote in my notes to discuss this. And thank you, Jackie, because you're just going to prove my notes to be right. Jaron accused you of using the mute button and chasing off the ballers. Well, lo and behold, Chaki's a baller and he came on the show. And Chaiki made a claim and then wanted Nathan to support the claim. So you see how quickly they go away. And okay, can I talk without the echo of somebody, please?
Point.
So
please share my image. I posted an image. Please share it.
I'm in the middle.
Although he didn't tell us. No, let's hate to cut you off.
All right, take over, Nathan. I can always come back.
I don't want to cut you off because I'd rather hear you than Chaiki, but clearly, although he didn't tell us, he was going away and getting a diagram. Do you want to just fill us in on what you're doing, Chaiki, rather than going completely silent and then letting someone else start and then saying you've got an image?
I'm on push to talk, so it's a bit hard. When I'm looking for something, you can't hear me.
We can hear you. You've got more.
Just post the image. Share it on your screen for you viewers.
Will do. Original Dero, shout out to you. It says, shout out to Jenny from Globebusters. What's up, baby girl? Hope all's well with you. Slept well? Thank you for the super chat, Deros. Can someone stick Chaiki's image in Master B for me, please? Is that possible? We'll get there, Chaiki.
It's going to be good, Chaiki.
Yeah, it's very simple, concise.
Is it with, I think, is it B with a buzz? I think B with a buzz has sent it to me. Is it solid, liquid, gas? Yeah? Is that what you want me to present?
Yeah, it's the phases of water.
Okay.
In various conditions.
Hang on, Nathan. Adam, your camera's on in your shirt pocket.
That's going to be one of those days. Okay, everyone else, just be quiet for a second. Chaiki, explain how I'm wrong and Jeremy's right with this image. Go ahead. Jeremy,
I am, but I want the viewers to see what I'm talking about.
They can.
Okay, so you see, if you're at sea level and you do what you do, you ask, does heat cause water to boil? That was your question. And indeed, no doubt, you start pumping heat and...
My God, this is painful, Chaiki.
No, I hear you talk to the audience.
I'm not going to do this for 20 minutes, Chaiki. Do you want to make a point or what?
Yeah.
Let's put the video back on.
Let's put the video back on it. Can you please shut up? I'm talking. Now, at the same time, we ask our little friend on Jupiter to do the same test, and he has a 100,000 gigapascal or 1 megabar of pressure. And we ask him, can you test the same thing we do? And he's starting to pump heat. All he gets to 500 Celsius, and he still has ice. His water is not even melting. So we proved, we proved
on Jupiter.
the nil. Yeah. We proved the nil, or we proved your hypothesis. Because both are true in our experiment.
Guys, hello? He's still talking. Go ahead, Chaiki.
Yeah, thank you. Here on the beach, you made the water ball. You proved what you said is your hypothesis. But on Jupiter, it doesn't work. It stays ice. Doesn't matter how much heat you pump in it, it stays ice all the time.
I see.
What's Jupiter,
Who's right?
Jackie?
Hello,
Who proved what?
guys. Thank you.
So who
okay.
proved what?
In the
Who
scientific.
proved the truth?
Thank you, Chikey. I'm now going to address you. Would it be a possibility that you could pop yourself on mute while I address you, please? Chikey. Chikey, can you pop yourself on mute, please?
I'm on push to talk. If I'm not talking, you don't hear me.
Can you pop yourself on mute for me? Okay, let's put it this way, Chikey. If I hear a single interruption during this next statement, I will remove you immediately. Thank you for putting yourself on mute. Really appreciate it. Excellent. Okay. In the scientific method, you have the varied thing, in this case, heat. And your example, although hypothetical because we're talking about something out in a sky vacuum that isn't real, out on Jupiter, where nobody's doing this, that wouldn't be at 1 atmospheric pressure, i.e., you wouldn't be holding that as a constant variable. You'd be varying that also in your La La Land on Jupiter, where nobody's going to do this. But that would mean that you've altered a different variable. So it's an invalid hypothesis, because you only vary one thing, and that would be heat. So the only thing that gets varied in this experiment is heat. You're saying, well, if I vary the location to Jupiter... Yeah, that's something else, though. That's not an independent variable that you're varying there, Chikey. So it's an invalid hypothesis, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, that doesn't prove me wrong and Jaren right, because of a hypothetical scenario on Jupiter where you varied something that isn't the independent variable. It just means you don't understand how this method works because you're varying something that isn't the independent variable. Okay? I'm still right. But thank you. Go ahead, 10th.
And the staff at the asylum is looking for you.
Hold on.
All right.
Go ahead, 10th.
All right. So my understanding is that Jaren has built a narrative on a false premise. But that's what he pushed in the pre-show that he did before the debate. That's why I said, go listen to it so you can see where he's coming from. But you didn't show interest. But it didn't matter because he did it on the actual debate. And what did he do? He said, Nathan is hemorrhaging. No one's going to his show. Ballers don't go there anymore. And so he needs to raise subscribers. So he decides to turn on his own and attack Austin, Bob, myself, and others. That's a narrative only that lives in the mind of Jaren, as proven by Chikey today, who actually came on the show and is a baller. So, yeah, they still come, but not as often. And the reason for that is not because of your narrative being true, and I'm addressing this to Jaren's own words, is because we don't entertain fallacious reasoning. And so when the baller comes and starts with a fallacious argument, we say, stop, you need to prove the premise before we continue, or else we'll be here 2 hours on something you haven't even proven. So can you prove it first so we can continue? Then they start doing their game. At this point, they're not welcome anymore. Come back tomorrow. You didn't do well today. Well, that went on for a while. I mean, all you got to do is listen to shows. And eventually they said, you know, we're getting beat up over there at FED. Let's go to the easier flat earth channels. Now that's my narrative in my mind. And that's what they do, because that's what I see. They go to the easier flat earth channels that let them talk forever. I remember 24/7 when someone was allowed to talk for 45 minutes on something that he could improve in the first instance. And I finally piped in, and then I got sent to a back room and told that I was not doing the right thing. I go, you just wasted 45 minutes. The guy, all he had to do was prove it to her, but he couldn't prove it. And so I left 24/7. So this has been happening for quite a while now. That's why people who come here like this show's template, so to speak, which is, hey, come here, show us what you got, but make sure you have proof for it. We're not going to let you talk for 2 hours on the fallacious reasoning. So the ballers decided not to come to our show, but they wanted to talk to us. And we said, well, we're not going to come to your show unless you pay us $5,000 an hour. Many of us, Mitchell, Brian, myself, and others. And so they said, well, we're not going to pay you, but so we'll just do what we do. You do what you do. So I think it was me and maybe a few others suggested that Nathan, since they weren't coming because they got defeated, okay, not because of a mute button, that we do review videos. And review videos are done all day long on YouTube on many subjects. So I started putting up what people said on the matters that interest FED debate. And Nathan would do a review video, and we would send them our responses as an audience. And so now in Jaren's mind, doing review videos is because our show is hemorrhaging and not doing well. No, I got news for you. The show is not hemorrhaging. The show is doing quite well. It's where logic and reason are paramount. Fallacious reasoning is discounted and not put up with. Now, if you can't handle that, that's fine. But that's what the show is about, and that's why I'm here. I'm done.
On that note, 105 people watching, please share the show if you've not done so already. Shout out to Original D-Rose. Says, staff at the asylum are looking for you, Chaiki. Thanks for the super chat.
Well, I don't recall that anything else other than heat was included in your hypothesis.
Independent variable means you'll only have one thing that will vary. All else, everything else, including location, like Jupiter, is held constant. Everything.
Well, you said we can't prove it. Jupiter is just a story. You didn't say I can't test it in different conditions. You didn't say so. I'll keep the pressure constant. Don't worry. But it will be a high pressure. Like John said, the question you ask in your hypothesis is very important. You need to be very, very precise in the question you ask.
Yeah, if heat, then water boiling.
So Jaron was right. You were wrong. End of story.
You're suggesting that I'm wrong because if you also vary the pressure by putting it on Jupiter, immediately void, because that would be an invalid hypothesis because you only vary the independent variable. You're saying, oh, I'll hold the pressure constant. What, like we experience here when we experience the boiling water that we wanted to discover. So when I see a hot spring, I go, I wonder what the fuck it'll do on Jupiter. No, Dumbo. One independent variable is all that will be varied. Moving to Jupiter isn't included in that.
Just different pressure, that's all.
So is pressure something other than heat?
Yeah.
Right. So then you'd need to hold the heat constant and vary the pressure.
No.
Yeah, that's how science works. What do you mean no? Yes, that is how science works. You have an independent variable, that which you assume will cause the effect. You vary it, and only it, and see if it causes the effect. What you don't do is say, I'm going to change the pressure first, then alter the heat. That's two variables. That's not independent anymore, Chaiki. Your hypothesis is invalid.
We have two labs. One has atmospheric pressure, the other one has another pressure.
So you're saying there's a variation in the pressure then? So therefore not independently varying heat, but in fact also, that's two things, not independent anymore, varying the pressure also.
Not worth explaining to these people.
Oh, come on, stop crapping out, you stupid stream deck. God, this could be a nightmare day.
So I'll prove the nil. Water do not boil ever.
Chaiki, you're done, Chaiki.
Nathan, maybe your stream deck would work better on Jupiter.
Nathan, maybe. If you do a Windows update, it should fix it because mine was acting daft yesterday as well.
Oh, really? It could be just a Windows update.
Yeah.
What's up, Anthony?
Don't do that ever.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Thank you, Anthony. I've just spent 25 minutes looking through forums that are like, oh, put it in a different USB port. Make sure the software's not loading when you start Windows. Do this, do that. I've done all of it, and it's still doing it. It's just doing it at random. I think there might be a dodgy connection from me coiling it up constantly to put it away. So I might have actually knackered it.
Try Windows Update.
Will do.
On Jaron.
Will do, Anthony. I will.
That fixed mine.
Okay, perfect.
Can I just say that I listened to Jaren's debate thing last night, and Nathan, all Jaren did was ad hom attack, ad hom. There was very little substance. You ignored all of the ad homs. You focused in on the one topic, and you didn't move from it. And that was a perfect way to deal with it. It was brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much. You kept on slandering me in the chat.
Oh yeah, because you did give him a low blow. Yeah, you had a point deducted for the low blow because you said he wasn't quite ready for application of it yet.
Of all the things you would say, that I wouldn't class as a low blow. In my back and forth with him, right, prior to the discussion, in other words, via text messages on Skype, one of the things I specifically said to him, I was really hyper-specific with him. I said, I don't want to go past hypothesis construction. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I want to be hyper-specific about that. I was really clear with him prior to it. So although it might have sounded condescending in the moment, I was reiterating a point I'd already stressed to him over text, which is, no, I don't want to go that far. That's too advanced. And I meant it.
I don't think he read it, though, did he? I think he acknowledged that he didn't read that message.
No, because he later told me that he got a copy and paste section right in the middle of it. So while you could infer that he hadn't read it because that's what he said, he also then corrected me on what he had read because a section of it was copy and paste out of a dictionary. So you read that either way, Anthony.
I was shocked at how bad Jaren was with the point that you were addressing, because at the end of the day, your criticism was that qualitative is not the same as quantitative. And Jaren was like, yeah, but we need to know how much. And he was reasserting that point, validating your criticism. But because he doesn't understand that heat does cause water to boil, and he thinks that you need a certain amount of it, because he doesn't understand that criticism against him, he can't get past that. So then he has to say, well, you're just stupid. Because that was what he said. He said, I can't believe that you're this dumb, Nathan. It's like, Jaren, you need to address the point that Nathan's making. Respond to that point. And there is no response to it other than you're just dumb. Well, Jaren, heat does cause water to boil, but so does pressure. You can vary pressure too. But that's why we always say at sea level. And if we forget to say it once or twice, big deal, we'll correct it once you point that out. But at sea level, heat does cause water to boil. Pressure does cause water to boil too, and we can vary pressure. We can boil water in a vacuum chamber, for instance. But the point is, heat does cause pressure. It does water to boil. It doesn't matter how much heat. It doesn't matter in what circumstances, but heat does cause water to boil. It's the same as the scurvy argument. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 pill, 6 pills, 9 pills, 22 pills. What matters is you get to a point where you have scurvy and then it stops because you've got enough vitamin C. Jaren doesn't seem to comprehend that. And it's that fail that Nathan's jumping up and down about and then saying, because you don't understand this, science does prove something. It proves that heat will cause water to boil. It proves that vitamin C will prevent scurvy. It does prove that. Who cares by how much? It's irrelevant. It's the point that's proven is the point that why Nathan is not a scammer. And when you apply it and then you play Jaren's words back and he just sits there and goes, you've won. But Jaren won't accept that he's lost.
Did you
Why?
notice? Did you notice I didn't talk about the scammer part. I was talking about the how do you say?
Shut up, JP. All righty then. Yeah, but Jaren thinks that
so rude. He's eating and talking at the same time.
One
you
day
don't
the
need
water's
pills
not
for
gonna boil.
vitamin C. You just need to eat citrus fruits like oranges and stuff to have vitamin C. That's how mariners fought the disease at sea. Because some mariners they wouldn't get the scurvy at all if they had the good nutrition on.
But one day they might bring lemons with them, and then suddenly they still get scurvy. That's what Jaren says.
Yeah. And it really bugged me when he was saying, like, at the point where we couldn't boil water to 100 degrees because we didn't have the skill to do it, we didn't have the technology, we would prove that water doesn't boil at 100 degrees because we couldn't get to it. And then Nathan was like, yeah, but water, we have got to that point, and it's now a proven fact that it is, the water will boil at 100 degrees at sea level with heat. That the cause of it is heat. And Jaren's like, yeah, but what if we never get to it? And what Nathan really should have said there in response is, well, then there's always the opportunity for somebody to come along and prove exactly that point when there's a new development in technology that allows, like a kettle, for instance, because then you would rewrite science, because then at that point there's a discovery made where heat does cause water to boil at 100 degrees. We previously thought heat didn't cause water to boil. Now it's been demonstrated that it does boil at 100 degrees at one atmosphere of pressure. And at that point, we prove something. So until that point, we didn't prove anything. At that point, we then prove it. Nathan's correct. You don't need to go back and prove it again because it's always going to do it unless you can prove that it doesn't. And it was like Sean Hawkins was on the other end of the conversation, and you're talking with Sean Hawkins. But the problem is Sean Hawkins understands this. And I was like, Jaron, this is shockingly bad for you. I'm done.
Couple of super chats.
Can I say something?
Couple of quick super chats.
You ran.
Just a couple of quick super chats.
So, bottom line, Jaron was right, because once I pointed that at the high pressure, you can't point the water anymore.
He's going to read and repeat the exact same thing he's just said. So, no, thank you, Chucky. We've already covered that. The independent variables, heat, not pressure. You can hold heat constant and vary pressure instead if you choose to, but that would be a different experiment that we weren't discussing. Nevertheless, original D-Rose, character played by David Alan Grier on classic In Living Colour, sits in the corner of a dinner shouting absurd foolishness. Reminds me of Chaiki. Jupiter! I assume that was you, Caps, shouting obscene stuff from the corner, although Jupiter's not very obscene. Shout out to Himsake also, who says, just listen to yesterday's debate. I had a blast. I would like to see you on Modern Day Debate one of these days. Thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
Nathan.
Yes.
I'm very offended when I'm labeled. So please ask your panel not to call me names like Glober.
Nothing more than feelings.
Who's this rude fuck?
Okay.
Oh, who's the person that's talking with it?
Okay, no worries. Can you just lay off the ad homs, especially Neil?
No, I'm Tom here.
That wasn't Neil.
When you start a sentence with "I'm extremely offended," I don't really care. I will fight for your right to be offended.
Well, you offend me. And Nathan asked not to swear. And when you call me good Glober, you swear at me.
Taken.
You swear at me. So I asked not to do it.
You took the offense.
I'm not talking about
give the offense,
the swear I get in chat in text here.
Okay, did you have
you hear that point?
Substantive to pass on before I read this super chat, Chucky? Go ahead.
Sorry?
No? Okay. Shout out to Retro Bill. Why did Jen's hypotheticals always include primitive men using the scientific method experimenting with the most loose, and inept way possible? I don't know.
Jaron was trying to prove. He was trying to prove that science does progress. And Nathan says, well, once it's proven the positive, it never needs to go any further than that because you've always proven that positive. And that means that Jaron perceives from that sentence that you have an end point to science. He perceives that because you've proven a positive, that you stop. Okay, well, I proven a positive, didn't I? I proved that if you manipulate the density of the medium, an acceleration is caused, which is not part of their model, by the way, but I did prove that. I manipulated that and I proved it. But if Jaron says, well, that's only correlative and therefore you shouldn't stop, go ahead, be my guest. Show me how a voltage or a current or a flow or an amperage or whatever variable that you want to prove, show me how you can cause an egg to accelerate in that circumstance, because I've tried it, it didn't work, and I proved the negative. If voltage, then egg did not move because there was no acceleration. It's not powerful enough to do it. So it does exist, but it's not proportional to mass, and I proved it. It failed to prove that there was an acceleration caused by adding a voltage or a current or a flow or whatever. And that's why I did that battery test, to show Bob that it didn't work, and he ignored it. Why did he ignore it? Because it debunks his claim that voltage or amperage or current or whatever it is, there is no directionality caused by this. And the directionality that is there is so small and not proportionate to mass that it is not the reason why we have a downward vector that he insists must be there. It isn't, because lots of things supersede the strength of it, and it's not proportionate to mass, but they ignore it. So, Jaren, practice what you preach. Show me that there's something else that you can vary to make that egg move, because I've tried loads of things, and the only one that I can get to do it is what I showed on screen. But if you think that there's something more to it, don't stop there, Jaren. Science doesn't stop, does it? Go and show it. Prove it. If you can't prove it, Jaren, it's not a thing. That's what I did.
You're on repeat, dude. You're on repeat. I'm trying to answer you. Did you try it in an MRI machine? In a very strong magnetic field?
Sorry, you just keep adding in extra variables beyond the independent variable. The independent variable in Anthony's experiment was the density of the medium, which is what he varied. You're saying, well, no, don't vary the density of the medium. Get in an fMRI machine and do it in something that's got a... No. That would be more than one variable, Chaiki. What part of independent variable aren't you getting?
No, he asked for it. He said that nothing else will change it.
Chaiki, do you remember when Jaren gave the example of a candle to boil water, and Nathan said, well, when you stand at a geyser and you try and replicate it, it might be a little bit not enough to have a candle to cause it, because clearly it's proportionately not strong enough to boil water. That was the point that Nathan brought up in rebuttal. Well, the same can be said for you, because it's a minuscule amount of acceleration or force that's caused by this voltage, but you want to use the strength of an MRI machine to replicate that? Are you upset? That's ridiculously disproportionate in scale. Can you at least acknowledge that point, even if you disagree?
Disproportionate to what? What did you use?
Well, I put a voltage through the medium, and I put a positive at one end, a negative at the other. I passed a current through it, and it was 12 volts, which is miles more stronger than what the actual voltage is at our altitude anyway. So mine was disproportionately strong with a 12-volt battery. And if it's not, somebody can prove me wrong. And it never happened. It was ignored. But Chaiki, my question to you is, in the same way that a candle isn't sufficient to boil water because it's not strong enough, you're doing the inverse opposite and producing an MRI machine, which is orders of magnitude billions of times stronger than what is claimed to be the downwards acceleration by Bob. So do you accept that your scaled argument is disproportionately magnificent relative to the claim that Bob actually makes, which is millivolts?
I'm asking you, you made the test, you made the egg move or whatever. What was the proportion? What kind of proportion did you use?
I used a disproportionately advantageous and favorable to Bob amount of voltage or current or flow or amperage, whatever word he uses to describe that flow. I use 12 volts, but at our level on the Earth, we measure these things in millivolts. They're minuscule, but I use 12 full volts, which is disproportionately in Bob's favor. Now you're saying, did I do it in an MRI machine? How much is there in that? Do you acknowledge that your applied scale is grossly disproportionate? Do you acknowledge that?
What did you have in your hypothesis the limits of things we need to use, the proportion?
No, and that's a good point. So that's where the validation of the null didn't get enough clarity from me yesterday, and someone from the chat, I can't remember who it was to credit them, but they pointed this out to me. So if you are that person, make a comment on this video if you're listening, just so I can actually credit you. But they said, no, in terms of what Jaren was putting across to you, the better response would have been to say, when you write out the null and you include the variation of your independent variable, you can put it on a scale to make a more concise statement about what was confirmed, that's validated and proven in the null. So if for the sake of argument you say, well, based on limitations of technology, we could only achieve 60 degrees in the water. So your null statement, based on what you actually did, was to say that water did not boil at 60 degrees C at 1 atmospheric pressure. So that is a confirmed statement. No matter what you do at 1 atmospheric pressure, if you apply 60 degrees of heat to water, it'll never boil. Yeah? So that's what you write out as your statement. If you're going to be hyper-specific about what you actually did. How much you varied the independent variable. So someone can analyse it after the fact and go, oh right, at 60 degrees it didn't boil. That's confirmed, proven, true. What about at 80? Oh, right, 80 degrees, 1 atmospheric, still didn't get it to boil. So that's what you write down.
Yeah.
But you've then confirmed that as a null hypothesis. It's proven that a 1 atmospheric pressure, 80 degrees C will not induce boiling. Okay? It's still proven. Never to be changed. You're never going to induce boiling at 80 degrees C at 1 atmospheric pressure. So you've proven that.
I have a question.
I'm explaining and agreeing with you, Chaiki, that the qualification for where and how you validated the null with the quantity that you used in terms of the variation of the independent variable is still held true because you have confirmed that hypothesis in the null. The prediction is still true when you write it out with the variable and how much you varied it. In this case, heat, or in Anthony's case, which is what you're arguing about, which is where I was going with this, the amount of electricity. You can, because he states, well, at 12 volts, no effect was induced. You can turn around and say, what about 250,000 volts? Be my guest. Write it out as a null, write it out as an alternative, vary and manipulate that which you're assuming will cause the effect of vector change, in this case, an electrostatic field induction, and do it at 250,000 volts, you genius scientist, you. Get on with it. Don't ask Anthony why he hasn't. That's the beauty of this.
I wasn't talking about
I'm still talking. Like I was explaining to Jaren, you don't have to rely on Anthony. Yeah? Don't trust Anthony to have done it properly. Do it yourself. That's the point. Systematic experimentation. You take Anthony's experiment at the research stage when you do it. So you observe the phenomena. Step 2, do some background research. Oh, Anthony did it. He put 12 volts through. That's interesting to take into consideration when I vary and manipulate the electricity. Because I've done my background research. Typically, we don't cover this. But ultimately, when that person varies it at 250,000 volts, the next man along doesn't have to take the result as being trustworthy either. You keep doing it. And when you keep getting the same null result over and over again, you can say with certitude, this has been proven. We have systematically tried to validate that electricity will induce vector change, and no matter what we do and who does it and how much we do it, we always get a null result. That's it. So you validate the null by way of systematic experimentation. Something we've been disseminating for about 2 years. I mean, I've been disseminating for about 8 years. Then QE came along and started backing me up on it. It was great.
This was really the problem that Jaren was trying to get to you, Nathan. He was
I
trying
don't
to
think
get
we're
you to
addressing the
acknowledge.
problem. I don't think we're addressing the problem properly because the temperature of the water, not the heat. If the water measures 100 degrees Celsius, the water will be boiling at one atmospheric pressure.
No, the water will measure 500 degrees and they will still be ice.
No.
And sorry, Chaiki, if you carry on babbling about Fantasyland Jupiter boiling in a different pressure, I'm going to kick you out. Because no, at 500 C, water's going to be boiling. That's absolutely absurd. And just dropping in that this is going to happen on Jupiter is a bloody outrage. Stop doing it.
Oh, outrage.
It is ridiculous.
Fact is...
Just stop doing it. I've already addressed it. You're varying the pressure if you do that. Even if we take your Fantasyland of what Jupiter is and how it is and the pressure there, then you're varying pressure. Okay? But it's far easier to manipulate pressure if you want to hold that heat constant and vary the pressure. You can do that here. You don't need to go to Jupiter, so you can beg the question of Fantasyland Jupiter and keep dropping it into the conversation. It's pathetic. Stop it.
Or we can look at it the other way and say, well,
can I answer?
Chaiki,
Nathan.
when I open my wardrobe and I walk through the wardrobe into Narnia, in Narnia you can get water to 1,000 degrees and it won't boil.
Here's example, Chaiki. Very pertinent.
So, when I pointed out and I showed you, not on Jupiter, and different lab, which is you ran and you changed your hypothesis.
Yeah, you can change your hypothesis and hold heat constant and vary the pressure. If you want to vary pressure as the independent variable to induce boiling water, you can. And it would also be validated if you induced the effect.
Why can't I finish talking?
Because you keep talking about a second variable and I keep agreeing with you. If you want to hold heat and everything else constant and vary pressure, as is depicted on your graph that specifically shows pressure, it says it on the side of the graph, pressure. So this is varying pressure, you stupid clown, not heat, which is what we're discussing. You're discussing an entirely different experiment that doesn't have heat as the independent variable, and I've pointed that out to you, and you keep doing it.
No. I have two labs. One always has high pressure. That's where I tested it.
Yeah, so we're not talking about that. We're talking about heat. The heat's the variable in this experiment. That's a different experiment. Do you want to talk about a different experiment where you induce boiling with pressure?
I finished talking. I don't know, Nathan.
You want to talk about a different experiment that we're not discussing? What was discussed with Jaron yesterday was the experiment where variation of heat induces water boiling. Now you want to talk about variation of pressure. That's something else. That's a different experiment.
You don't want to hear. You don't want to hear other.
So do you want to chant through me? You don't want to chant through me, or while I point out that you're talking about a completely different experiment when you vary pressure, because pressure as a different independent variable isn't the same experiment which has heat as the independent variable. And if you're suggesting both should be varied, then it's not an independent variable. It's that simple.
Same experiment.
So it's the same experiment, even though independent variable heat will cause water to boil versus independent variable pressure will cause water to boil. They're two different things, you stupid clown. They're not the same experiment, they're different.
It's always constant.
That's it, Chikey. I'm sick of it. Stop it.
Say I was wrong. Let's move on.
You were wrong.
And just to add to what I said before, I can also boil water with a candle, depending on the amount of water, obviously.
Try to follow, George. You're way far behind.
I'm just sick of this. Telling him he's far behind with no substance to your nonsense where you vary something in a different experiment to say that it's the same experiment.
Same experiment. Different lab. Pressure is constant. No. The only thing that varies is heat. Should I repeat it, Nathan?
Right, you're saying pressure is constant on Jupiter?
On the second lab, we have two labs. One atmosphere, one, I don't know, 100,000 atmosphere. Doesn't matter.
Where would that lab be?
Two labs.
Where would that lab be?
Labs.
So where can I go to a lab where it's 100,000 times atmospheric pressure through the wardrobe into Narnia, where it's 100,000 times the pressure? In Narnia, that's where that lab is, right, Chikey?
No.
No. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're talking about a lab in Narnia.
It's a very weak argument.
What, a weak argument to say that if we go to a lab in Narnia where there's a different pressure, well, then you've varied the pressure by going to Narnia where there's a different pressure, ergo varying the pressure, and it's not the independent variable, therefore it's not the same experiment.
Okay, if you want to make yourself look like a clown, do it.
Sorry, get out. That's your last chance. Get lost. Someone kick him out. You're not going to call me a clown when I break down how fallacious you are when you point out that using pressure, you can show a difference. Yeah, you can if you vary pressure. But that's not the experiment where we vary heat and hold everything, including pressure, constant. But you want to say, no, it is being held constant in La La Land on Jupiter, where it's 100,000 times the pressure in that laboratory. Arsehole. Get lost.
But Nathan, I wanna ask something like, can we say it a cause or effect phenomena instead of telling that science is proving that? Because without science, we can also agree that heat can cause water to boil. We don't need a science, and it is just a cause and effect. So science is not proving it. Can we say that?
No, absolutely correct. So you don't need science to prove that heat is used to cause water to boil. It's bloody obvious. That was merely an example designed specifically for Jaron so that he could understand this in a very dumbed down way, where you reduce it to the most basic, obvious stuff that any idiot can understand does occur when you apply heat, water boils. Jaron decided to take it to a La La Land where water doesn't boil at 100 degrees in order to get around the argument, rather than understand the example that had been dumbed down just for him.
No, but Jaron was also saying that these things are obvious and science is just to define the hidden things, and we cannot account it for that science is proving it because like we are breathing air, so we don't need to go to science to approve it. Like gravitational force, like science cannot prove what causes the downward vector. I think he was...
Sorry, hold on a second, my friend. Sorry, science can't prove the downward vector. What, like when I release a helium balloon? What downward vector would that be when I release a helium balloon?
No, because something is going down. That's why, because of density
Sorry,
and buoyancy, it is
are you
going
just
up.
going to ignore me? Did you hear what I just said? I said, what about when I release a helium balloon? You said, no, when things go down. Sorry, did you not hear me?
But helium balloon also goes down, I think.
Sorry, excuse me. Are you retarded? Do you need locking up in a mental asylum? You just stated that helium balloons go down.
Yeah, in a vacuum chamber.
Sorry, in a vacuum chamber? Is that a natural phenomena?
Yeah, because...
Sorry, no, it's not, you stupid clown. Whoever's interrupting from G+, shut up immediately. As soon as there's a bloody fundy, I get horrible interruptions constantly. No, thank you. Don't need any help. And no, my friend, we don't live in a vacuum. Science is interested in the physical and natural world. We don't experience helium balloons in vacuums naturally. Gas, on the other hand, expands in all directions, in all vectors, including up. It's not got a downward bias. So your assumed phenomena, that what science isn't going to be proving anyway according to your standards, is downward bias. No, that's not something we observe naturally occurring. We observe things moving in all directions. At the end of your argument for gravity, I take it?
Yeah. Like, we cannot prove why the things are going down.
What, like helium balloons? Are you deaf? Not all things are going down. Repeat after me. Repeat after... Excuse me, I'm talking.
No, because
repeat after me. Repeat after me. Not all things go down. Can you repeat that, please?
According to me, all matter goes down.
So, helium balloons, gases, clouds are going down then? That wasn't rhetorical.
I think there are some other magical
I just need a yes or no. I just need is a yes or no. Do you understand what a yes or no question is? It's a closed question. Yes or...
I can't access the cloud.
Excuse me, I just need you to affirm that you understand my question because you didn't answer it. Yes or no. You state things go down. You state things go down. I say clouds, gases, helium balloon, they go down. Correct? Yes or no? Go.
Yeah, helium balloon goes down in a vacuum.
No. Are you in requirement of going to the mental asylum? Because we're not living in a vacuum and science is interested in the physical and natural world. We already covered this. You seem to be ignoring me completely. You seem to be reasserting and then chanting through me. Is it just your requirement, New Moon, to chant through me as I devastate your point? We do not live in a vacuum. Science is interested in physics. That's the physical and natural world. It's natural science. We don't live in a vacuum.
Where's there helium balloons in nature?
Excuse me, who's that? Who's the White Knight helping New Moon?
I'm just asking. You said nature.
Well, can you wait? Can you wait till I finish with New Moon? Can you wait?
Yeah.
Thank you. New Moon, we don't live in a vacuum. That's the third time I've addressed this, and you've circle-jerked back to it 3 separate occasions now. Not all things go down. We don't live in a vacuum.
There are many people. But there are demonstrations available. Like people create a vacuum and a helium balloon. When the vacuum is created, it goes down.
I see.
And it is also.
I see. So I understand. So the helium balloon itself is a container, is it not, with gas in it? Correct.
Yeah.
And in that balloon, the gas is going down to the bottom of the balloon, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
So the bottom of the balloon is bigger than the top. It's a big flat pancake because all the gas in the balloon has gone down. It's not evenly spread out in the balloon, pressing on the balloon equally in all directions. You're saying the gas inside the balloon actually is going down towards the bottom of the balloon. Are you stupid?
It's because of the shape.
Sorry, what? It's because... No, gases aren't going down in helium balloons, even in vacuum chambers. They're spreading out in all directions inside the containment of the balloon. Do you not appreciate that?
Yeah, it also expands the balloon.
So it's going in all directions and not down in the balloon, then? Hello?
Yeah, but
So it's not going down in the balloon then. It's actually going in all directions, exactly as I stated, even in a vacuum chamber. Inside the containment of the balloon, the gases have in fact spread out in all directions, including up. They're not going down making a pancake, are they?
thermodynamics. It's just because of
So you seem to be stuttering through me while I'm making my point concluded. You don't need to stammer and stutter your way through the conclusion of my point. The balloon's not a pancake.
Yeah.
You just need to shut up, my friend. New Moon. Yeah, while I absolutely annihilate your stupid crap. Just shut up and listen. Would you mind popping yourself on mute? There you go. Good lad. No, New Moon. Inside your vacuum chamber with a balloon in it, the balloon itself is a container. And inside that container, the gases have spread out in all directions, including up. There was no bias down. So you are wrong. Even with your example in a very unnatural circumstance, I can still demonstrate the gases expand in all directions, and were you to remove the balloon so that the vacuum chamber itself was the only containment, the helium would spread out in all directions into the chamber. And it wouldn't be in a puddle on the floor of the chamber, like it's not in a puddle at the bottom of the balloon. You're just fundamentally incorrect about gas behaviour. You think gas, when put into a solid container in a vacuum, very unnatural, will go down because the container goes down, when the gas inside the container has definitely spread in all directions and has no bias downwards. You are fundamentally incorrect, New Moon. Do you understand how wrong you are while I am constantly interrupted by somebody in G+? Anthony, go on mute.
When you finish with him, could I speak to New Moon, please?
You can, but you're off mute, interrupting it, making it an editing nightmare. Thank you. New Moon, you're wrong.
And it's spreading just because of the second law of thermodynamics.
So
And,
gas, so the gas is spreading throughout the balloon, including up, not biased down. Then, like you asserted. So you're wrong.
Yeah, it's going in every.
You don't need to stutter. Just say yes. You were wrong, you stupid idiot. Now you just need to confirm how wrong you were. The gas expands into the balloon, doesn't it?
Yeah, because.
Yes, you stupid weasel. Yes is all you need to say now, weasel. Yes.
Bro, I'm a flat earther. I
don't give a crap what you are. You're wrong, you stupid moron. Think I'm going to have your appeal to being a flat earther when you're wrong about gas behaviour? Gas does not go down in the balloon, does it?
Because I have seen the action.
Sorry, in the balloon, the gas expands in all directions equally, doesn't it?
Yeah, but.
Yes. So, stupid moron. Don't give a crap that you're a flat earther. You're bloody wrong. Do you understand how wrong you are? The gas in the balloon itself isn't going down, you stupid, idiotic moron.
But you can...
Don't give me but. I don't want to hear your buts. You're wrong. You said the gas goes down. You exampled a chamber, that's a balloon, with another chamber around it, that's a vacuum chamber, and you stated that the gas went down. Yet in the balloon, it doesn't. So you're wrong.
The whole balloon gets down.
The balloon isn't a gas, though, is it? The balloon isn't the gas, you stupid idiot. Do you not know the difference between the surface of a balloon, which is a solid, versus the containment it provides to the gas we're detailing? That would be helium, expanding in all directions with no bias down in the balloon.
Wasn't there a gradient
Shut up!
inside the balloon?
Someone mute Die Slow.
At the base of
Mute
the balloon?
Die Slow immediately. So in the balloon, because obviously it's been attempted by the White Knight to distract away from something that's destroying a bias, even for flat earth muppets who still have it, in the balloon, New Moon, it is not biased down in that container, regardless of what that container, the solid container of the balloon, is in. Who cares what the balloon is in? Inside the container for the gas is not biased down. Is it, New Moon?
So do you know the reason why...
Don't ask me a question. You just need to say no.
So do you know
Don't ask me, you stuttering little shit. You need to affirm that you understand that in the balloon it's not biased down as you stated. You're not going to get a question for me until you concede that in the balloon it's not biased down. The gas expands into the container of the balloon equally in all directions. contradicting your assertion that it goes down. You will affirm this, you total weasel.
I have already addressed it with the second law of thermodynamics. That
So the second law of thermodynamics is dynamically debunking your downward bias then?
no, it's just...
So it's actually going down in the balloon. The balloon is actually pancake-shaped because the gas in the balloon's going down?
Yeah, it's also going...
No, it's not. It's expanded into the balloon in all directions, you stupid idiot. Even in your own example, which you have seen with your own bloody eyes, you know damn well that the balloon is expanded equally in all directions and isn't sodding pancake-shaped, you abject liar.
Nah, the pressure of going outwards is more, and the pressure it is putting down, it's very, very low. That's why it's going down with a very low force. But
it's not going down. It's filling the balloon equally by expanding into it in all directions equally. It's not down. The balloon isn't a pancake shape because of the bias down. How many times have I got to explain this to you? Do you not appreciate that the balloon isn't pancake shaped? What is your malfunction?
Yeah, you're right about it. Yeah, it's going in every direction.
So not bias downward then, you stupid idiot.
That is another force that is...
Sorry, it's another force for gas to be expanding equally in all directions? No, that's not a force, that's just gas behaviour. It's not biased downwards.
Yeah. It's just the second law of thermodynamics, that's why it's going in all directions. But
I see, so all directions isn't biased downwards then, is it, you stupid idiot? What is your malfunction? Equally in all directions isn't your Muppet view of bias down.
Okay, if I...
Not okay! You're absolutely infuriating. No, it's not okay. You've come here and told us it's biased down by showing us a solid container with gas in it and telling us what the container will do in a vacuum chamber. Meanwhile, in the container of the balloon itself, the gas isn't biased down. That's not okay. You said it was. You're wrong. I need you to understand how wrong you are before we can move on. It's utterly infuriating.
No, just imagine in a zero...
Don't imagine anything, you stupid dick. The balloon's in the vacuum chamber, it's expanded in all directions. No imagination is needed, only you to make your concession about how wrong you were about the gas being biased down. It isn't.
But bro, what is going to happen...
Don't ask me something. You need to concede, you total weasel, that you were wrong when you said the gas was biased downwards in the balloon. It isn't. Now you concede. Don't ask me something.
But...
No buts! You were wrong. You said gas bias down. In balloon, it examples it otherwise. You were wrong. Not but. You were wrong. Gas not biased. Not moving downwards. All directions in the balloon.
We should perform this.
Don't tell me what we should do. You gave me an example and I ripped it through your own arsehole. You and the rest of the Muppet idiots who are flat earthers and think we've got a bias down. We haven't. You're wrong. You need to admit that.
So why the things are...
Don't ask me something. How many fucking times? Admit you are wrong by way of the balloon example. No bias downward for the gas. That's all we're going to do. And until you admit it, you total weasel, we're not doing anything else.
Okay. I am admitting that I was wrong about that.
Yeah, that a bunch of idiots on the flat earth. You think there's a downward bias? You think we need to explain the gravity we don't have? There it is, the concession from this Muppet idiot, presumably with an ether belief, being backed by Dice Slow as a white knight. There is no bias downwards. There isn't one. So your incoherent dielectric acceleration shite is debunked. Do you hear me, flat earthers? You've all been raped by idiots lying to you with science. Because they all told you that they were explaining this downward bias that doesn't exist with scientific evidence of ether, right? Now they're all lying to you. And Moon, you were one of the people duped by this garbage, weren't you, my friend?
I know why it's going down. It's going down.
It isn't going down. The gas is expanding in all direction. Cognitive dissonance much? Need to reassert that it's going down when the gas is expanded in all directions in the balloon? Need to double down on that stupid shit, do you?
That is another thing working, but that is...
Sorry, it's the thing that works against your claim that things are biased downwards. It works very much against that.
But if you reperform...
No buts! You are wrong. No bias down. Balloon not pancake. Expands in all directions equally. You are wrong. No buts. No questions. Just you admitting it and nothing else until we get it.
Yeah, I admitted that it will expand in all the directions.
Then we haven't got a bias downwards and there's no need to explain why then with an incoherent dielectric accelerative force, because there isn't a bias downwards to need explaining with an incoherent dielectric accelerative force, which doesn't exist also and can't be validated in any way, shape or form, let alone put through the scientific method. It's all bollocks. Bollocks you've been lied to about. By Bob, who's dead now, so who cares?
But there is no way to explain it otherwise.
Sorry, what? Wait, when it's going up. What about the gases going up? What do the gases pressing on the top of the balloon moving up way? When weight is a measure in the downward bias for solids in air? No, there's no weight for the gases pressing on the top of the balloon. They're going up. I still haven't heard you tell me how wrong you were about this assertion that things are all going down. You've doubled down on it after admitting that you were wrong, and yeah, it all will go in the same direction, or equally in all directions, rather.
Density and buoyancy is a result of downward vector.
Sorry, what downward vector would that be with the balloon? So the downward vector of the gas is pushing the balloon up to expand in all directions. They're going down, are they? Arsehole.
No, expanding in...
Arsehole. They're not going down, they're going up. You keep circle jerking around to the stuff going down, ignoring the stuff that's going up.
Yeah, there are some...
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're ignoring it. Yeah, the stuff going up in the balloon to make the balloon expand in all directions wouldn't be in any way comporting with your downward bias that you haven't conceded yet. You've been swindled, New Moon. Been conned into believing that you need to explain a downward bias with incoherent dielectric acceleration because that's the only reason you beer if you're a flat earther. You'd have that claim having it lied to you by charlatans who claim science when they haven't got any, and then call the people who call them out for lying and scamming with science claims they haven't put through the scientific method. Yeah, those people who call them out get called scammers. Meanwhile, ether's a scam, and the people who peddle it are liars and charlatans and cheats and frauds who use science as a magic word to convince muppets like you that there's a downward bias that needs explaining when there isn't. You've been conned. Yeah? That's what's happened. You've been conned by charlatans, using the same magic trick that was used to con you onto a ball. Now flat earthers are conning you with the same magic trick. Science proves the ether. No, it fucking doesn't, because it hasn't been through the scientific method. There's no empirical evidence for it, and there's no downward bias to need explaining. Hope that's clear with my balloon and its gases that aren't going down, that you can't possibly concede.
So what is the reason? What is the reason things are going down?
I didn't say they were. They're not. The balloon defies that claim. We've gone through this about 18 times.
I don't want to talk about that example.
Oh, you'd rather not talk about the stuff that's not going down to affirm your bias that needs explaining with incoherent dielectric acceleration. You'd rather not focus on those things. I see. So would it be better if I only focused on solids moving through air so that your nonsensical shite about incoherent dielectric acceleration, that shysters and con artists who use science as a magic word to peddle nonsense they haven't proven, I can then accept the downward force that doesn't exist because not all things are going down. So it's better that we don't focus on them, right?
Because of electrostatics.
Sorry, what's because of electrostatics? The downward bias we don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have it. So you're not going to be explaining it with... You're not going to be explaining it without, given that we don't have it.
Have them define it. What's electrostatics?
Yeah, I don't believe in electrostatics, like everything is positively charged and Earth is negatively charged.
Not my question. That wasn't my question. That's not my question. I asked you to define electrostatics.
I don't know the proper definition.
OMG. Take it away, Nathan.
I'm waiting for him. What else you got?
I gotta say, this is pretty sad, though.
Yeah, we've been conned as flat earthers for quite a substantial period of time, and as a result of me highlighting the con, the grift, the charlatans using the word of science to imply that they've got proof that's been through the scientific method when it hasn't, which has also got a title, it's pseudoscience. These pseudoscience claims of ether have been peddled through our community that I love for years. Now I've tried to stamp them out, and I'm going to continue to try and stamp them out. Anybody who thinks there's ether to explain a downward bias we haven't got has been conned. And you'll hear lots of science words being used while you're being conned, I absolutely assure you. That's why I'm being called a scammer currently. Because all the people out there on the circuit that do like using that magic word of science would rather it wasn't specifically defined as having been through the scientific method. Because they haven't. When they charlatans con you with ether and the science of Mickelson Morley. Right? It's not. It's all bollocks. You've just been conned. It's that simple. Yeah? I hope that's all clear. You know, Jaren's absolute resistance because he's surrounded by charlatans and he's got to defend them. People who claim science when they haven't got any. You know, those people saying science is proof, oh no, they're not going to get called out. Only the person that can show how it isn't proof. That's the only con man. I mean, all of them are saying science is proof. It's just when they say it, Jaren's boys, they haven't been through the scientific method. So it's probably best if the one that says you should really have gone through the scientific method to call it science, better call him a con man and a scammer. That's what's happening here. Yeah? I'm disrupting the grift, their grift. And like with every single objection that Jaren made about me at the beginning of his moan and bleat, he projected every single one of those things directly onto me. So you saw that very clearly. Well, what else is he saying? He's saying I'm a scammer. Yeah, that's projection also. He's protecting the grift. He's protecting Dave Weiss and Bob and Whitsit's grift when they lie about having science. Because they say science proves, but Jaren's not got an issue with them. Why? Because they haven't proven anything. He's protecting them. That's what's happening here. So they can all con you and con this moon guy. That's what's happened.
Well, it goes back to the beginning when I gave my narrative of what I thought was happening. So since the ballers came here with their falsehood statements and they got beat up and they weren't coming and they wanted an excuse for not coming, was because you were muting them when they were really arguing fallaciously. And today's show is a perfect example of how you give them a chance and then eventually people could see you're going to waste 2-3 hours unless you hold them to the claim first. So, Jaren, once we took our eyes off just reviewing ballers, but reviewing what flat earthers do with the grift, oh, he didn't like that because now the attention is on the Feast of Nonsense state spew. And so we're equal opportunity employer here. We review all kinds of videos.
Speaking of review, and we have Die Slow in there. He's on mute right now, and New Moon is left. I wonder if we can search the mysteries of Die Slow's claim that there's a difference between nothing and no thing. Anyone else up for it?
Not really. It's self-explanatory by the title.
Yeah, I have nothing planned. Let's go for it.
Is that nothing planned or no thing planned?
Well, this is what I want to find out.
Go ahead, Die Slow, the floor is yours. You did make the claim. There's a difference between nothing and no thing, Nathan. Yeah. Yes, you did.
Yeah, just got to work here. I could wrap it up real quick if you want and lay it out for you.
Okay.
So, nothing is a concept that doesn't exist. No thing is simply implying that there's not a thing to count in the sense of a vessel. Like if you had a cookie jar, as I originally gave the example of, no cookies in the cookie jar means that there's no cookies, right? There's no thing. But that's not to say that there's nothing. Two different concepts, similar but different.
So all you're doing is contrasting between the word, the verb, the doing thing, the adjective, the describing thing, and the noun, the naming thing. That's all you're describing. The difference between those different words. So what? I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right. It's fairly common sense, right?
Yeah. So there's no difference between nothing and no thing. It's not common sense. You're a retard.
Oh, there's a big difference. One doesn't exist, and the other's a concept.
And the other one doesn't exist either because there's nothing there, no thing there.
It's nonsense. Why are we wasting any time on this? This is just
because I want to point out that he's a retard. Very simple.
What was your point on white knighting for Moon? What were you trying to get in?
I'm on the job, man. I can't really talk right now.
Fair enough.
He's picking up cans alongside of the road. He can't talk.
No, that's fine.
I'll tell you what he said. He wanted to say, are there helium balloons in nature? Because he tried to debunk Nathan's explanation about helium balloons with the downward bias. That's what he said.
I just take the helium balloon to be the container. All right, the helium balloon container's in another container. How fascinating. Meanwhile, the containment for the gas is the balloon. Oh, what's that? Let's get rid of the balloon. Or well, then it would just fill the vacuum chamber. That's what gas does.
That's what I wanted to bring up with full moon. If there was a gas law to describe directionality of gas, you should cite it, but there is none because we've looked. But there is a gas law that describes that the gas molecules will collide with the surfaces of the container evenly in all directions. It's called Blaise Pascal's gas law. Now, Blaise always say, well, it only applies to fluids. Well, gas is treated as a fluid. So it does apply to gases. It's written everywhere. You might not get it in the first search on Google when you search for it. You've got to go beyond line 1. But Pascal's gas law does apply. And there isn't a directionality of gas law to counter that point. So there is no gas law to describe his claim that there is a directionality. So that is one problem. But the second problem is if we have something floating in the medium like a helium balloon and you get the medium to be it's like the egg and the water, but it's a helium balloon in the medium of air, but you've got to mix the air to make it right so that you can get it sitting in the middle. If you then reduce the density of that medium into a vacuum and then the balloon drops, you're actually proving relative density because you're varying the density of the medium, you're reducing the density, and then you cause an acceleration in exactly the same way that if I could reduce the density of the medium, the egg would have gone down. But it doesn't do that, does it? So when you add salt, it increases the density, so the egg went up. But by varying the density of the medium to a vacuum, and then the balloon goes down, you're actually proving that the helium balloon will accelerate by varying the density of the medium. Welcome to relative density, full moon.
And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
Minds of factual stuff and truth by challenging, whether it be new moon or it be typical Chike. But I guess there's going to be like a wave of courageousness again to step on the minds and get blown up by the facts and the truth that they come when they come in here with that Jupiter crap and all that just stupidity and double talk and backstepping.
It's exactly how Anthony described it. Stop talking about me. I don't talk about you, which is not entirely true, but let's just take it from there. Well, why are we talking about you, Jaron? You said something and we're reviewing it. Aren't you willing to stand behind it?
Of course he's not. You can't have anybody challenging him. He needs to be a monologue. He needs to be an echo chamber. And he doesn't want anybody challenging him. Because if it was challenged and he was forced to accept that you have to manipulate the medium or manipulate the IV to cause the DV, if he has to accept that, ultimately it puts him on a head-on collision with Bob, and he'll have to reject Bobbity because there is no manipulation of anything in there. And that the manipulation that has been done proves that it doesn't do the thing that he claims. And he doesn't want to go against Bobbity. For some reason, he wants to preserve Bob's memory. Woo. Well, that's why you're getting the criticisms.
So, Anthony, hang on, Neil. So, Anthony, when he says men are fallible and we can't trust them. And when Nathan says that's why there's this method, so the bias of men is kept out, he crosses that line because he's actually exhibiting his bias to protect Babadi.
Correct. He's projecting his own dishonesty.
Is he a man?
He's projecting his own
Does that include
fallacy.
him?
What's happening, Chocolate?
Yeah,
Chocolate. Anthony. Keep
That's
going.
a good point. Keep simul-talking. Keep saying and then waiting at exactly the same times.
Chocolate, he admitted that he is also capable of this mistake that men can make with bias. So he's not saying he's not. The fact is, Anthony nailed it, because if it's all because you got to protect Babadi, then he's doing the very thing that the scientific method is designed not to let man do, which is
exactly.
Yeah, go on.
Did you know how Wicked can take any single person on FED
Hold on.
and tear them to
Hold on,
shreds
Neil.
in the debate?
You're ruining Anthony's point. He's just about to wrap up the irony of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's exactly what Jeremy was doing. He was doing the exact thing that scientific method prevents or precludes or stops by stopping criticism, by insisting that you're always the only way, and this is all. Look at how many personal vendettas or personal insults that Jeremy brought compared to how many Nathan brought. Yeah, Nathan was once or twice. He may have done a couple of dodgy, but there was only one or two. But everything that Jeremy was saying was all personal, and it masks the fact that he hasn't got anything to rebut. Blurfs don't come in here, not because Nathan attacks them or because he uses the mute button, because they lose. That's the reason why they don't come in. They can't come in. They need their echo chamber. They need their own church. They need to go there every day, and they need to worship their God, because gravity is their deity. Gravity, the heliocentric model, Eratosthenes, that is their deity. And that's why they can't come in. But it's also the reason why Jeren won't come in, because Jeren does the same bloody thing. He pushes nonsense, and when he gets challenged on it, he just doesn't like it, because it pushes him into a quandary where he's on a head-on against Bob, and he wants to preserve Bob's legacy, Bobbity. That's all it is. But if he accepts scientific method, and he accepts it's not about how much, it is actually by doing it in the first place, not qualitative. If you accept the qualitative point that science proves, it means you've got to dismiss Bobbity, and he doesn't want to do it. That's why.
But Anthony, to wrap up what you're saying, it's a get out of jail card for Jaren to hold this position as long as he can, even though he's falling apart trying to defend it, because he can now continue in the feast of nonsense. And when someone comes and says, "I proved you wrong," he says, "You can't prove anything." That's the only reason he's doing it.
Yeah, it's a complete. It's a complete smokescreen, because if science could never prove anything, what is the point in even doing it in the first place?
I'm sorry. Jaren proved that he did understand the scientific method, and then he backtracked on that understanding within the same conversation. It's a lie. It's lies. He is being a saboteur. He's doing the same routine type as what Bev does, who was, by the way, in my chat for some reason this morning. So he's taken note of what's happened with Jaren.
Well, when it proves the null, Jaren couldn't get it. It's alternative or the null. Something's being proven, and Jaren couldn't get that something was being proven. He's got to have the non-provable situation occur in all subjects so that the feast of nonsense that anybody spews could have shelf life. Because all you got to say is, well, one day, in fact, we heard it. It just came to me. Remember when that one guy said, well, right now, the scientific method can't prove it, but one day it might.
But the point is that he has admitted it. He has fully admitted every step of the scientific method, and then even like, yeah, it does work. But then he started to draw in nonsense ideas and conclusions about quantities and about how it can change, which is fundamentally in diametric opposition of what the scientific method is that the result doesn't change. It literally never does. And all he was doing was first admitting that he understood it, and then just went off on a tangent to sabotage it. That's what he was doing.
You all missed it. He declared war on FED. That's what he did.
Can we talk about something?
Jaren,
Can we talk about something with some substance? Can we please recognize Chocolate is here? He's already said it a number of times. Good morning. Hello, guys.
Hello, Chocolate. Hello.
Who's that?
Right, guys, just one second. Just a quick announcement. I'm going to razz down to town. I might as well leave this recording, but please, because I'm not here, please be vigilant with your mic and not talk over each other. But I'm just going to nip to town at about 5-10 minutes, just dropping this stream deck off, see if I can get the cable fixed. It is the cable, Anthony. I wiggled it towards the end of the show and it shit the bed. So it is actually the cable that's knackered.
The problem you've got is the cable's not replaceable.
Wiggled it.
You wiggled it to prove the cause.
I wiggled it, and it definitely, yeah.
My freaking day, because I warned you, and nobody listened to me.
Man.
Yeah,
Well, that's not a natural phenomenon.
That we agreed with you. You were just so rumpusy that we couldn't get through to you that we agreed with you because you were rumpusing everything.
Nathan, it could actually be the socket. Try using a different USB socket and wiggle it whilst in a different socket.
At one point, Jaren said
I've done all that.
Said a word.
I've done all
At
that.
one point,
Hold on, I just want to tell Anthony, I was just literally about to go, but I've now sat back down to tell him. I've done all that. So I've tried 3 different sockets, removed the extension cable, tried it in 2 different sockets on the rear as well as the front of the computer, and it does the same thing. As soon as I move the unit, it craps out. So I'm 99.9% certain it's just me wrapping the cable around the body of it when I'm finished with it.
Yeah, I think it might be dead.
Yeah, I'll just take it to Craig. I'll be back in 10.
all right, we back in 10. We got it. Riley, yesterday, Jaren said that we choreograph the shows. He mentioned you in particular. And it's so funny because you can see what's happening here. So here on the socket USB cord, yeah. You know what, guys? We did that at 5 in the morning, and we said, you say this, we say that, you say that, we say that. That's what he was trying to say. Now, there have been cases where we say you play good cop and I'll play bad cop, but that's normal. But for him to insist that all the shows, basically is what he was saying, are all pre-planned and choreographed. What say you, Riley?
Yeah, I think he is trying to say that. Yeah,
he actually said that.
Yeah.
Well, QE is.
What is wrong with this fucking clown?
Yes, he did.
Man?
And he said, "Which is
Language."
Sorry.
I do want to pick 10
to check out, like, Jaren kept streaming after Nathan hang up, right? For how long? Half an hour, nonstop.
More. That was the best part, Arwen. That was the best part, was when Jaren debated Jaren after Nathan was gone. It's epic.
And I do recall
it really was like a Gollum-like monologue, wasn't it?
Yeah, I recall him saying Whitsitt is more intelligent than every last one of FED's member panels, and he would out debate any one of them, including QE or Brian or any of them. And he's got this and that. He was really like ranting like a little girl at prom. That,
yeah, but what he's doing, he's correlating sophistry. He's correlating sophistry with intelligence. The more you can go blah, 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 and speak very, very, very fast, so that and scattergun as many points as possible. The more you can do that, in Jaren's mind, he thinks that reflects intelligence. But to everybody else, it's just sophistry. You're using language fast, scattergun style, to try and make as many points as you can, so your opponent can't respond to any of them, because whichever one you pick on, it'll not be the one that he wants you to pick on. So he'll then focus on the other one that he didn't address and say, you didn't answer my question. And it's a tactic. It's not intelligence.
Hang on.
Let me say something, please.
Yeah, but Riley never got a chance to answer my direct question to him. Everybody jumped in.
Okay, go ahead.
So somebody did it for me. Playing good cop, bad cop, or playing the role of a dumb ball earther doesn't mean that it's choreographed or scripted. Yeah, we have done that in the past. And to be honest, it sounds like a good idea initially, but it drives me nuts, because you can't actually play the part of a retarded ball earther with any sincerity whatsoever. You can't do it. Once you've seen he doesn't do it well. Arwen drives me nuts when he does that, because it's so insincere. It's so ungenuine. It's so disingenuous. It drives me nuts, and I can't stand it. Even though he's playing the role.
It's not fluid, and you can't think properly when you do that.
But I want to pick 10th up. I want to pick 10th up. This is important, because 10th said before that we use logic and reason in this platform. When you apply logic and reason, That's the thing known as rationalism. But rationalism is the opposite of empiricism. Science is about empiricism. It's about what shit causes what. So if this shit causes that, then that's scientific, right? But if you apply rationalism instead, that opens the door to basically whatever speculation that you want to talk about and call it philosophy. And then you end up in the realms of theoretical physics, because you start to make it more serious than when you start off with an initial conjecture. You start off with some point that might well be true, might not be true, but it's speculative. And then you add an argument to it to give it a bit of weight, and then you add another bit to give it a little bit more weight. Before you know it, you're actually practicing theoretical physics, right? And the problem with that is it's based on rationalism, which is the opposite of empiricism. I think everybody would agree with me that if we can prove shit empirically, because that's what scientific method is, an empirical way of establishing the cause of an effect. If we can empirically prove something, that's much better than logical or reason, because that's when you start going into the realms of philosophy. And once you start doing that, before you know it, you've got mathematics are involved, and you've got black holes, and you've got dark matter. And before you know it, you're back into heliocentrism before you realize what's happened. So I would say, let's not talk about logic and reason. Let's focus on empiricism, because that's what science actually is. You're proving shit. You're not describing shit. You're not off in the realms of fantasy world. You're proving shit, and that is empirical. And that's the primary focus of science. So let's stick with empiricism rather than rationalism.
And Anthony, and Jerry gave it away yesterday, and New Moon gave it away by the indicative term. Let's imagine, or let's pretend. Both of them said those same things.
Yeah. Like, we can talk about Narnia all day. We can talk about Jupiter all day, but these are fictional places that don't exist. Space is fake. The way we're told space exists is not true. If it was, we would all be dead. We wouldn't be able to breathe. The sky cannot be a vacuum. Space has to be fake. That doesn't mean there's something up there that we know what exists to replace that. We don't. But what I see is when we see high altitude planes or high altitude anything going across the sky, it looks to me like they're in some kind of liquid that they say is a vacuum. And I'm like, the higher the plane, the more look at when the rockets take off and they create that weird wake, like speedboat style. However high those rockets are actually going, they seem to behave like they're in water. I'm not saying that it is water. No. It just looks that way. But they tell us that there's nothing there. So that effect shouldn't even exist, because there's nothing there to cause it. But there's clearly something causing it. And it's interesting to see, because it looks like water. But I'm not saying it is.
Off the rockets.
Holy shit. You're trying to get all your 10,000 words out, like right now.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say today.
That's why I interrupted him last second. But seriously, that supposed watery wave stuff, that's literally the exhaust coming out of the rocket, okay? There's nothing up there that's causing that. That's out of the rocket, and it just looks kind of like water. It isn't.
Sure.
Huey,
why is it holding a form? Why is it staying in that way?
It's really, really cold. That's why.
It ain't gonna happen, 10th.
No, get one of your here real quick, because there was a claim by Jaron that Witsit is smarter than all of us. Can you get one of your, please, mic discipline. Please get one, if not two, of your Witsit Nupti clips, and just play it, please. I would just like to test this statement that Jared said.
I don't think you guys can hear it.
Why?
So, why? There's plenty of reasons I don't think you can hear it over this stream.
Well, you played them before.
Yeah, but it's a bit squirrely. I could try. What do you want?
No, just pick one, because Jaron said that when Nathan attacked Witsit, he got mad and he wanted to defend Witsit because Witsit's smarter than all of us together. And so Nathan never attacked Witsit. Nathan held Witsit just like he held the guy today until Witsit could explain what he's saying. But Witsit backtracked on the conversations. Well, it's a negligible force. It's not really that strong. Mostly it's relative density, but it's there. Okay, can you show it to us? No, it's invisible. We can't show it to you. Well, how do you know it's there? Why you pick on my friend? Huh? Why'd you attack Witsit? Well, because you can't show it.
You bully.
Well, that shows you right there, right? Because how many? Wait. So when we say science doesn't prove, or science proves things, were scammers. But because it's his friend, so his friends can say science proves ether or whatever the fuck, and then that's okay.
Language.
Like, there's no consistency there, man. So you lost credibility a long time ago with that. If you're gonna stick to your guns, stick to your guns. Tell your man, yo, hey, I'm over here telling Nathan he's a scammer because he's saying science proves shit. It obviously doesn't. So why are you saying it?
Well,
but no,
Chocolate.
he's going to back up his man because that's his friend. Oh,
Yeah, but Chocolate, it's worse than that. You know why? Because we said to Whitsitt, look, if you prove it, we'll accept it. How come Jaron didn't bring up the fact that we said to Whitsitt, prove your claim and we'll all get behind it? He never brought that part up. He only brought the part that Whitsitt couldn't prove it, and we held him to task. That's the only part they want to bring up, not the part that we said, come here with a claim, prove it, and we're all on board. How come he's not bringing that up?
Can we all agree that it's worse than that is copyrighted by Brian?
Yeah, it's worse than that because I told him his worse than that should be his. That's all I told him. It's worse than that because I told him.
It's funny because somebody who I believe was his friend or is his friend was in the chat. Morgal was in the chat. And he blatantly said, yeah, I agree with Nathan. Science does prove things. But for some reason, Jaron won't agree. And maybe that's because of ego or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. But that's his man.
Yeah, but this is the problem that Jaron makes, right? The point that Jaron was trying to make to Nathan that Nathan didn't pick up. He responded to, but he didn't pick it up to it. Jaron thinks that Nathan doesn't see this. Jaron thinks that when you say if A causes B, or if A does not cause B, Jaron thinks that that's a false dichotomy because he thinks that, well, there's the possibility that there's something else out there that we haven't discovered that might actually explain this better. And until we discover it, we can't say conclusively that A does cause B because it might be something else that actually causes.
Yeah, but A causing B doesn't exclude anything else from causing B. It's just
be something
else. A causes B or not. Sorry.
That would be the advancements in science, wouldn't it? If somebody said,
No.
well, actually, what?
No, it wouldn't. Let Chocolate. Go ahead. Tell him, Chocolate.
That would be something else that would cause it. That's not talking about the thing that we're talking about, which is whatever the independent variable is. If you prove it causes it, then you've proven it causes it. If you haven't, then you haven't. Why are you talking about something else that may be happening in the future? Are you crazy?
Because Jaron unifies science into if something is proven scientifically, then according to him, that means only that thing will ever be able to cause that effect. That's what Jaron thinks because he's an idiot.
You're trying to discern what a retard thinks.
Yes.
No, I'm good.
No, the guy on the recording said, right now science can't, but one day it will. So they want their beliefs, but one day the beliefs might be proven with the scientific method, is what that guy said. Now, Jaron reverses that so that he can have his beliefs and not have the scientific method vet him out when he makes these stupid beliefs. So they're both playing both sides of that coin.
He's repeatedly said, and I don't know if he said it yesterday. I haven't listened to the whole thing, just pieces. But you have a grown adult that has told you that the boiling point of water changes depending on what container you use. So you're evaluating, you're trying to reason on what a abject retard thinks. You guys need to find yourself a girl.
No, I told you, hold on, let me speak. You're missing it. Before Bob went away, his motto was #End Flat Earth Debate. Jared has picked up the reins, and that's what that 10-minute monologue was at the beginning. They want this show out. And another thing, I thought can't stand Ethan, Nathan. That's what you said. But he was backing with it yesterday. They want to discover it. I don't know about Ether. It sounds like an Etherite to me.
Or just an anti-flat Earth debater, because I think that the our opposition has moved from a slightly narrow anti-flat earther group that aren't ballers, obviously because of their argumentation, deeper and closer by to anti-flat earth debater. That's what I think is happening. And there's a whole bunch of groups that are like thinking that they can democratically vote us out of existence. I think that's genuinely out there. These people are insane.
They declared war on us.
That's obvious. Nupty clip. Do you have the Nupty clip? I got to go. I want to hear it.
Naturally occurring phenomena is electrostatics.
I'm sorry. Listen, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go back 1 second. Here we go.
Naturally occurring phenomena is electrostatics.
So the naturally occurring phenomena, i.e. the dependent variable, is electrostatics. Yeah? Everyone got that? 35 seconds later.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take an object and we're going to manipulate that independent variable of electrostatics. That independent variable of electrostatics. Naturally occurring phenomena is electrostatics. That independent variable of electrostatics.
Thank you.
So the phenomena is the independent variable now, huh?
So Witzit's using the IV and the DV as the same thing.
Bruh. Electrostatics proves electrostatics.
You
Bruh.
just have to manipulate the electrostatics to cause the electrostatics, or see if whether the electrostatics doesn't cause the electrostatics.
Yeah.
But he's smarter than everyone in FED.
Well, did you
I'll
notice
debate
though?
anybody here. I'll debate QE. QE's scared of me.
Well, did you notice though
QE won't debate me.
When Witzit was speaking, then he was doing that fast babble, that psycho babble that he applies, which is very. When he applies that, he's talking nonsense. That's what he's doing.
That's called a wheelie, right? It's the wheelie. That's what Ken Wheeler originally did, and what everybody loved him so much for. And Witzit's taken over that discipline.
I term it global linguistics.
You want some more?
Yeah,
go on.
What's a wave then?
Okay, a wave is just a type of movement. So a wave is a verb. It's not what something is.
So wind is also a verb?
So this is the mind-numbing level we're at.
Though, is it?
We're down here at second grade retardville with an ass clown who doesn't know what nouns and verbs are. From Merriam-Webster, wave, noun. A disturbance or variation that transfers energy progressively from point to point in a medium that may take the form of an elastic deformation or of a variation of pressure, electric or magnetic intensity, electric potential, or temperature. You're up. Okay? He doesn't know what nouns and verbs are.
But it doesn't change the fact that he's smarter than everyone.
No. Combined. Smarter than all of us combined.
What is the situation with Dell? Last thing I heard was that there was dispute over whether he was
Dell?
Because
what are you doing at Dell? We're not done with its smartness. Let's hear some more.
Sorry. I thought we were done with Witzit.
From the mud into the sewer.
There's nothing else to say about Witzit, is there? Let's be honest. Do we really need to dwell on Witzit?
One more. I gotta go, but I need one more. Try
one more.
Actually, you can't have light without electricity.
Really?
I didn't even catch that. Say that again so I can hear it.
He said you can't have light without it.
He's going to say it again. So just relax.
What the hell did you just say?
Actually, you can't have light without electricity.
Did you get it? You can't have light without electricity. That's what he said. All right, here we go.
Actually, you can't have light without electricity.
Really? You ever hear of glow sticks? How about fire? Good.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He doesn't hold a candle to us.
What about? Isn't bioluminescence? Isn't that like the light radiated from certain? Is it bacteria or plant life of some kind or whatever?
It's similar to. Yes, it's similar to the glow sticks.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotta love those electric campfires, man.
Hey, how about what is it again? The light that would be created by a bubble induced by sound waves subjected to water. Like that's light. That's not electricity causing that either. There's so many ways light can be created without it.
Kiwi, thank you so much. You made my day. Trifecta of the smartest man in the world. Thank you so much.
Well, at the end of the day, he's dumber than a flip-flop without a foot in it.
I don't disagree with that. I think what Austin's got is the art of bullshit. He's able to make himself sound intelligent by speaking in a that babble. I use the word babble because I can't think of another word to use to describe it. But he uses that to sound intelligent, and that's. I think that's what Jaren's referencing when he calls him intelligent, because he thinks that shows intelligence. Really? I can't, because nothing else he gets. He gets so many things wrong. It's like,
Well, he's about as intelligent as
All I know is
powers.
I could levitate anything with electrostatics. Brian, can you levitate my phone? No.
Hey, bro. Y'all are talking about a dude that's on it. Y'all are talking about a dude.
You ruined it.
Hey.
Heroes.
Oh, what are you doing?
Even fucking finished yet.
Oh, my bad.
And you jumped all in it right at the fucking punchline.
Do it again.
Fuck.
What's it? I could levitate anything with electrostatics. Brian, can you levitate my phone? What's it? No. Maybe a little piece of your phone, but not your phone. Like what? Bro, come on, man. Just stop.
My impression that last night, I got the impression that Jaren was so desperate to be. It was like he was desperate to remain significant or important, because it stank of desperation. That was how I interpreted it.
Yeah, but no shit. He was all crouching down in the corner. It literally looked like he was hiding behind the logo in the corner. Eventually, that much bent over. So
did this happen yesterday live? Did it happen yesterday?
About 12 hours ago. 15 hours ago, maybe.
Nathan streamed it live on a members only stream and then later premiered it.
Oh, okay.
Was confusing though, wasn't it? Because he was saying that I'd rather do anything else but to be here. Then why the hell were you there, bro? I mean, I don't know.
Don't do it, Chocolate. You're a young man. Don't do it.
What?
Don't listen to that. You're a young man. Don't do it.
I heard. I guess I caught Nathan's upload of it, and I only turned it on for literally 3 minutes, and I think I caught the end, like Jaren's. Maybe I'm assuming it was his opening statement that was full of just ad homs and oh my god, your numbers and your audience, you're hemorrhaging it. It was just nonsense. And then right after that, I heard Nathan say okie dokie, and he went right into the actual subject that we're here to speak about. And then I just said, okay, I'll probably catch this some other time. I can't.
I'd love to see the graphs and the raw data that Jaren must have plotted to come to the conclusion that is correlation. That is when the audience numbers drops, he mentions my name, Jaren's name, and then they suddenly peak. I'd love to see that data because, like, I'm sure he just plucked that out of his ass. Anyway, can we go back to Dell for a minute? Like, last thing I heard about Dell was there was question marks over whether or not he was actually asserting that the Earth was moving up. It might have been that he was just like firing at the hip kind of thing, like saying that maybe it's accelerating up. what is the position now? Does he actually say that the Earth is moving up?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
From what I know, yeah.
That we don't listen to him. I can't. No, let me correct that. I don't know what he says because I don't listen to him. I debunked him like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Right? Remember that? So Dell's over.
Yeah, Dell's done. Oh, by the way, Jaron also mentioned that science better prove more than just two things, Nathan.
And I just want to.
This is the problem where I can't take certain people seriously, man. Like how, even if you wanted to make that claim that the Earth is somehow rising upwards, okay, that's great. You want to make the claim, but why does the claim have to come with this other ad hom that apparently we're stupid and making globe claims by? Excuse me. I'm sorry. We've been here for a few years now, right? Do we assert that the Earth is moving in any way, shape, or form?
We don't have to make the positive assertion either way. We can just let them make the assertion themselves and then say prove it, and then they can't prove it. So we don't even have to say anything.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, so we don't make that claim that the Earth is moving because it's just not, right? So how does Dell expect people to take him seriously when literally he's saying we are making globe claims when who claims that the Earth is rising upwards? Is that not Einstein? Shit.
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. So how is that associated with us?
Well,
are we making
we are making the extraordinary claim that the Earth is stationary, according to Dell.
That's extraordinary. Okay.
Indeed.
But stationary is not moving. Globers claim the Earth is moving. We do not. So how am I supposed to take him seriously when he's just lying out of his face?
Well, that's what I had said before. That's what I had said before. I said, isn't the anti-heliocentric argument against motion of the Earth, whether it be sideways, up and down, rotating, orbiting? So that's why I was asking you before, when and why did any flat earther start jumping on board of the movement of the Earth when that is like one of A through B through C, one of the fundamental arguments that a flat earther has against the heliocentric belief, which is motion of the Earth. And secondly, you got to understand, back to Jaron and Whitsitt, you got to understand that in their own platforms, Whitsitt is a man that talks about red-bearded giants who ruled the Earth at one time, and all the things that we talk about that is the most speculative, nice to talk about after some beers and a couple of blunts, but you don't bring up on no show and disseminate to the public. And another guy who speaks about, who contradicts himself, speaking of Jesus and God and everything yesterday as, his stands, but then has a podcast for 2 hours humiliating and ridiculing people who have faith in a most high creator. So you got to understand. And then you look at our show, it's science versus pseudoscience. So it's a whole nother level. It's like Oxford versus, Western Branch University online. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Magoo. You dig what I'm saying? So
they can talk about whatever the fuck they want. Like, go ahead, talk about red-bearded giants. That's great. What the hell?
You bloody racist! Don't deny my heritage.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Go ahead, go with the bearded giants and the ether and dielectric, whatever. Go ahead. That shit has got nothing to do with us. Like Anthony said before, man, empiricism. That's where we're at. Can you prove it? No? Okay, thanks. Like, what?
We must prove that a unicorn is keeping the Earth in its place because otherwise it would naturally float up. We have to prove that.
What we had to do was last night, right? What we got out of last night was exactly what I thought. I woke up to a lovely personal, maybe a few more personal message, yeah? Adam, did you see the debate between Jaren and Nathan? I didn't think Jaren was so arrogant or ignorant before that shit show. The numpty doesn't even seem to understand that there are different types of heat. Laughy, laughy, laughers. Yeah? What did I tell you? It was for the audience to hear. So to see that somebody who's clearly doesn't give a fuck about Jaren, he's interested in flat earth, maybe listens to him not, knows he's a name, comes out with, I didn't know he was so arrogant or ignorant, or maybe both. Yeah, perfect win. Nathan did it to perfection. They demonstrated their ignorance on so many levels. When he took him to the galleon, and he first goes, well, let's go to 0 Kelvin. What, theory? Like the numpty did today, let's go to Neptune. And then he went to real thing, and they said, well, maybe you can't get to -40. And I thought, exactly, you fucking idiot. It was a perfect, I just went boom at that point in the chat, because he was just destroying him. And when this gets run through and chewed over, it'll be highlighted, Jaren's ignorance. But I think the public heard it. It wasn't difficult. Look at the chat. And he resorted to the most childish things. I was laughing when he starts swearing. And then when he started reading his script, yeah, there was points where he had scripts to attack Nathan on, and that's when he was looking down at Owen. Yeah, staring at his notes that him and
he had notes and scripts.
Yeah.
I thought we were the ones with the notes and the scripts. Wasn't that us?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Nathan didn't have any notes.
What was really despicable about it was that he was saying that Nathan didn't have the mute channel and he was bad, but then he's just going to speak right over him, and Nathan's pointing that out to him, and he's literally, it's not the pin isn't dropping. He's not understanding that he is everything that he hates.
Yeah.
He responded with cursing like Sean Hawkins would when you ask him a question that he can't answer without revealing the earth.
Whoever said that said
that
facts.
dude just pointed it out. He hates. That's the word he just used, right?
Yeah.
That's where he's at. That's why nothing rational that comes out of any of our mouths is going to affect him, because he hates us for some reason or another. He's in his feelings.
But that's what I said.
That's all this is. So there's nothing that we could say, rational or whatever, that's going to get through to him.
But that's what I was saying, Chocolate. That's what I was saying.
We heard you and we agreed with you.
Like I said in the Master B, Nathan could have been telling Jaren that Jaren's home was on fire to get his family out to save them. And because of his overwhelming despise for Nathan, he wouldn't listen. He'd probably chase Nathan off his property with a machete and a gun and have his family perish in that burning home while he's so busy chasing after Nathan down the block saying, get the off my property, yada, yada. That's how overwhelmed he is.
That was made apparent, Heroes, right?
There was no doubt in Nathan's ability and what he was going to do yesterday. I did not doubt that for a second. What I said was, it's falling on deaf freaking ears.
May I have a chance to summarize after Adam, please?
Yeah. I think the thing I'd look at is towards the end, and Nathan left at the correct point, because when he refused to do the thing that he'd admitted he'd said incorrectly and had been demonstrated by Nathan actually fetching the clip of him saying it, and he refused to do it, what he did was change tact. He then showed his true colours, because he outlined that it wasn't about that. In fact, it wasn't about that anymore. Solely because he's been proved wrong on it. It was about him upsetting his mate Witsit. And that's when I typed, there we go. So new motivations, and it's personal. And that's what he demonstrated. And he needs listening to. And I said, we're all going to go into it, and Jaren's mates will go into it, and they'll come out with certain opinions. But listening to the neutral opinion, I think, is the telling one. And I've not heard any noobs slagging Nathan off. The only thing I've seen is a bit of trolling. Oh, see, Nathan being aggressive, etc., etc. It's stuff that wasn't even on display tonight. All of those traits, and this is the final point, which was the bit where I thought was brilliant, because all of his supposed moral superiority that he started with, holding Nathan to his demeanor and the way he runs that show, which is taking on knobheads, he critiqued that, held it again as a personality flaw, and then demonstrated every single one of those personality flaws infinitum throughout the show. It was a perfect self-destruction from my biased opinion. I don't think it could have been any better, solely because of that latter point. To attack a man on his character and then demonstrate those supposed character flaws yourself, it's how you lose to the neutral, I think.
It's hypocrisy. And before you go, QE, real quick, we forgot the elephant in the room. How when Nathan replayed the scammer statement, Jaren backtracked. He fell back on his... He wanted to redact it and say, I didn't say that. Can I see the whole context of it? Yada, yada, yada. There's other reasons why you're a scammer. That's what I was talking about. Can we hear that was never on the show. It was all about the science part. And he tried to duck that accountability for that. He's a powerless...
He said that Nathan had cut and cropped it out so that it was out of context. That's what he said.
Yes, he did. And if he didn't say it, he implied it so much, he might as well had said, you cropped it and cut it and edited it, because that's not what I said. But I guarantee
he did say that. He did say that.
He did actually say that.
Yes. And then Nathan had to point out, no, that last bit wasn't even cut. That was your full statement with all the context.
Yep.
I'm done with them. I'm done with anybody that's going to like Napalm, who's going to go there and literally I don't, it's not biased, fuck all that. There's a time where I thought Jeranism seemingly fucks up all the times that it counts. Could he be a show? And I stopped doing that because it was his friend and all of that. But you know what? I don't trust any of them. Fuck them all.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yeah, I think so. Well, what you got? You got an under-numpty or?
No, I got a summary. You ready?
I'm not quite at my wine, but start anyway. Give me a minute.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rocks that are causing them.
Nice.
I was laughing out loud on the balcony at that point. So if rocks, and I just cracked up at that point.
I can't believe he actually was trying to be serious there.
No, but do you see, that's the demonstration that he didn't understand. Just like the gallium thing, that he doesn't understand the first point that Nathan kept going back to, the construction of your body has to make sense. You spastic. Yeah? It was repeatedly demonstrated, and that was the best one, John. If I vary rocks, then waterfall. I'm going to go and get some rocks tonight, Darren, and vary them. Will I get a waterfall? Brilliant.
And Anthony, to answer your question as far as Dell's position on Earth is still rising.
If
Dell's not falling, Earth's just rising. You may call him a little psychotic. At least he's not afraid to take that.
Don't do that no more.
Is Earth rising up to meet him face to face?
They're only jealous of your voice, D-Rose, that's why.
Bravo.
Yeah, Neil, come on. There's nothing worse than talking over somebody trying to sing something. That's just super.
We heard that 10 times.
I haven't.
I want to hear some rap.
What? Why?
Because that's the generation D Rose is from. I know the area he's from. What the hell are you doing singing country?
He's changed his form, Neil. Come on.
I got a rock
D Rose is just a singing man. Ever considered that?
I can't rap that, but I got a rock version. Dell's not falling, Earth's just rising. You may call him quite psychotic. He's not afraid to take that leap of faith, because Earth's rising up to meet him face to face.
Wow. You're good.
Wow.
That
That's really good.
Yeah, I like that one.
You got the tone like perfect. Like you got talent, man.
Thank you. Oh, y'all didn't hear my New York Giants thing back in 2007. The Super Bowl thing. Go on my channel. You can hear my Jamaican version and my rock version for our Road Warriors championship back in 2007. The Giants got it and everything. Coach Coughlin, all of them had a copy.
Really?
Yeah, when we met on the cruise, because they had a cruise.
Wait.
Dude, post your YouTube channel.
The 17-0 Patriots?
Yeah. I made 2 songs and all of them. Steve Smith, Banks, all of them got the copy. Straight, all of them got a copy of it. They all took a copy back with them on CD to play in the locker room. And I still keep in contact with some.
Yo, my cousin did the same thing for the Yankees. He made the Yankees "How You Doing" song.
Oh, word?
Yeah, that's
Yo,
my cousin Dominique. Yankees, how you doing?
Is that on YouTube where I can check it out?
Yeah, HAYA. How you doing?
HAYA. Okay.
HAYA. How you
Was
doing?
that when the
boy?
Yankees had the cotton?
Yeah,
the
but if you're-
cotton outfit.
You made about $20,000 with that song.
Wow.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah, but y'all go on my channel. Y'all can hear it.
Yeah, we'll go there. In fact, I'm tripping over myself to get to it.
Yeah, sure.
Adam.
Yeah, sure.
D-Rose, could you post your channel in Master B?
Okay.
Hey, Adam. So we're gonna
just
put
to let you know I'm back.
water.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're back. Okay, go ahead.
I took ages because the moment I walked into the computer shop, Craig came up to me and was like, "If you're proving something, you disprove it." He's trying to explain. Eventually, the conclusion after 10 minutes of going back, quite exasperated back and forth, was yes, when you prove your null, you disprove your alternative, and when you prove your alternative, you disprove your null. That's right. But that took about 10 minutes of him very passionate about my discussion with Jared yesterday. So I didn't just nip in and out, book in my stream deck and then get out again. It wasn't like that. Just thought I'd let you know I'm back though.
You see, that's the opinion that matters. You see, like I was saying with the text, the neutral, not those that got feet in camps, whatever we think. They're the opinions that matter. And if that's what he came out of it, not, oh, he was a bit rude, Jared is a bit there, or Nathan was a bit there. He comes out of it is understanding that you either prove or disprove something, yeah? Then that's the important thing out of last night, yeah? That the audience, lots more people start to understand that. It was a good job, Nathan, whilst you were here. Congratulations, man. I thought it was very well controlled and staying on point. It was absolutely brilliant. And the points you did make, or he allowed you to make, were great.
Adam, I did take a point off Nathan, though, for the low blow when he said, well, we're not going to talk about experiment stage yet, Jaren. You're not quite ready for it. So it was a very good performance, I do agree. But we did take 1 point off.
No, because, and I'll tell you why, because the whole show demonstrated he wasn't ready for the experiment stage. He did not comprehend hypothesis construction. It would have been a low blow if he did, but he demonstrated for all that hour and a bit that he didn't. That was the whole point.
It is true. Jaren doesn't get it. I do agree with that. I just like taking the point off just because it wasn't perfect. It can't be perfect, can it? There's got to be a little bit of criticism.
All right, he's not Torval and Dean. I'll give you that.
Okay, he's not Torval and Dean.
Did he get his stream deck fixed?
No, he's handed it in for fixing.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be a while before he gets the... I think it's broke if his wire's making and breaking.
Nathan, you missed my summary.
I've no longer got a stream deck, so unfortunately, while Eleanor's playing Minecraft, that does mean I've got to actually interfere with her game, which she's not very happy about. I can see it on her face. Also, she really enjoyed your song, D-Rose. She was loving it, like actually loving it. She was smiling and boogieing, and there you go.
What the hell? What about my song?
I probably wasn't here for that. I'm sorry. I'm sure it was just as awful as always.
Thank you very much. Tell I said thank you.
Shut up.
Ooh.
Did you hear my summary?
Summary? Oh, I thought you said song.
Yeah. They're one and the same.
Oh, I see. Oh, your summary is... Oh, okay, Eleanor. I'll just have to stay off mute then. Go on. There you go.
It was all right.
Hit him with the summary, QE.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rocks that are causing them.
Can I just ask, like, am I the only one that wonders whether this was a hypothetical experiment he did, or did he actually do something?
What the fuck? What did? Please allow Nathan to at least comment on my summary.
He's not listening. I'm sure his daughter's playing with the computer, and
It was very melodic.
Thank you.
You can work on the phraseology and your syncopation with the tempo.
Those are some big words you use there.
If rocks, then waterfalls.
No chocolate, Ron. No, you can't misquote him. Varying
I didn't
rocks.
hear it.
Varying rocks. It's not just if rocks. That'd be ridiculous. You got to vary the rocks. Then you get a waterfall.
Oh, thank you for clearing that up. Appreciate that.
I don't like people being misquoted. It'd be unfair.
I'm just going by the seeming hypothesis that was sung out by QE, because I didn't actually hear Jaren say that. So
they were trying to hold on, and you know they all talk, so they all hold the same ideology. They were trying to hold on to the misunderstanding of the varying part. Like Napalm was in the comments talking about, you put the candle under like the pot and it doesn't boil. Now what? I said, you vary. Yeah. I said, you vary the heat. He's like, putting it under the kettle is varying it. And I said, yeah, you're no longer, I don't trust any of you guys. I don't care if you are frauds, some kind of whatever the fuck, or if you're that stupid. Like, both things for me, from now on, are the same. You can't, no. Just hell no.
Yeah, it was a line drawn in the sand. You stay in your lane, Jaren and crew, and don't come into this lane. Don't veer into this lane, because you'll get wrecked, son. That's what happened.
I like how you put that.
And let's watch our language, because apparently Nathan's daughter is listening, being as she loves
right.
She loves my fabulous song.
I always have good language.
It's bits like that, Eli, the varying of rocks, that, you know, that's not the combined, just off the cuff thought of Jaren. These guys have sat in a room one night and come up with this as a reasonable opposition to why the scientific method doesn't prove anything. Unless, of course, it's an echo chamber over there and one person said it and no one had the balls to challenge it. And they all nodded and agreed.
Are you saying that he had help with this? This train wreck of an epic dumpster fire retard.
Okay. Would you, if Nathan had come up with that, or something that was so flawed, would you have not helped him out? Unless, of course, you agreed with it and you'd say, no, that's that. That is the gotcha. Oakley's going to be crushed with this. Yeah? That's
you know what? I didn't even factor that shit in. Hey, shit said 60. Did you help him out with that? Ah!
Oh, you know what?
No. Richard was eventually like even telling Jaren, like, or not telling Jaren, but basically, just let him talk. Like, he was realizing that Jaren was losing complete control.
I have to say something that I mentioned on the chat to Michael Kahn and all of them, who were very, Richard G, all of them, they were very upset. There was a particular globe on there, and I'm going to call his name out, Game Guy, who said something with the words in his text regarding Nathan's daughter. Now, when I reified what he said, I said it, what you going to do about it? So, of course, I let him know, of course, I can't do anything while we're in cyberspace, but I would love to meet you or even meet you with Nathan so that we can pick your jawbone out of your face. But these guys are literally coming, game guy, at game guy. I hope you're listening.
Not gamer guy.
No, gamer guy. Yeah, gamer guy probably. So he was a very arrogant, stupid, immature, fecal, maggot, fecal matter level person.
That's not the guy that I know from my chat today. Who's also called gamer guy, but he's actually a girl. That's not the guy.
No, then I don't think it was a girl. Because I would hope that a woman wouldn't say something, like that about someone's child.
All right.
And
No,
even for the child to come out of the person's mouth, and they didn't deny it. It was more like, what you gonna do about it? Didn't speak like a female, spoke like a dude coming back and forth with me. Okay.
All right, then we're not talking about the same person. Thank God, because the gamer guy in my chat was really nice, actually. So,
who cares about nice?
Yeah, that's lovely. Who cares? Adam, so I take a pot of water, I put it in an oven on 425. It's not boiling. What's wrong?
I'm pretty sure I could put in a pan of water in my oven at, I don't know, 175, and I'm pretty sure after if you leave it in long enough, it is going to boil. I don't know why he thinks that would not happen, but maybe he's got a faulty oven.
Because he doesn't know how a stove works. That's why.
The vapor temperature, the water has to reach a certain. Anyway, we already went over this. Just this retarded.
I know when I put my chicken in the oven on 425, I always take it out when the chicken's 425.
Yeah, it's reduced down to the size of a stone. It's rock hard and black.
Maybe he needs to stop buying his appliances from crackheads, pushing them around in shopping carts, and buy one from a reputable department store.
The problem is they haven't been thinking at all. They've just been thinking of ways that pseudoscience is wrong. And that's why they were stuck in their ways. Because anyway, like what I found the most interesting. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
I'm just saying, are they good friends then? Listen to it, That's why you got a turkey thermometer, innit? You put it in, when it says 300 degrees in the centre of the turkey, it matches the oven, it's done. Yeah? But these are mates that have let him go in. To me, like I say, are these guys complicit in it? Or are they just as dumb? Because they've allowed these analogies that were written down and the attack on Nathan, they've allowed them. Yeah. And one thing about here is, look, if any of us came up with that shit, it wouldn't last the afternoon, would it? It'd be given short shrift, and you'd have gone, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking when I put the turkey in, I needed the center to be 300 degrees, like the oven's saying.
Yeah, they're not thinking. Because they're thinking, well, first of all, Nathan is an a-hole. Second of all, he's an a-hole because Jerem was just trying to tell him that pseudoscience doesn't prove things. Except for the fact that Jerem thinks that science and pseudoscience is the same epistemology. That's where he's fucked up at. Excuse the cursing. Sorry about that, Eleanor. My apologies. No, but my biggest problem... All right, go ahead, Adam. I'm still trying to move away from it.
Well, no, but that's the thing. They've come up with this. This is what they came up with to prove that science doesn't prove anything by making the claims we heard. I know it was turned around. All Nathan's got is boiling water and vitamin C, which absolutely destroy the point I'm trying to make. I'm being Jared, yeah? That's all he kept repeating, ridiculing the two things that he couldn't get over, that they were proven or disproven. But this is what they all came to the table with. Like I said, we were allowed to relax because we had truth on our side. All we had to be was honest and describe it well. And Nathan did a fantastic job of that and stay on point, and he did that. But this was the sum of their opposition to their fundamental statements of why Nathan's a scammer, but fundamentally that science doesn't prove anything. And that's what that's the point that needs reiterating to the listener. That's what their statements, that's what they're telling you to move forward with is. Not you've been lied to with pseudoscience, but that science fundamentally doesn't prove anything. And what he went
That
on
is
to
true.
show is
Yeah, hold
that
on.
he
Jared
doesn't
didn't say that.
understand.
Don't hold on there.
Really
No,
don't.
that's
Didn't
the
say
best
that.
point.
It's not like
Don't go. No, that is actually the best point, because that was
Facts.
what was told to me, personally, a number of times from numerous different people. The very, very basis of where their feelings are coming from is that they just don't put any stock in the empiricism of the scientific method. That's what it is. Like, it just in general.
So good luck using that to prove ether then. Have fun with that.
Well, they don't. It's a logical framework that uses the affirmative and consequent fallacy.
So then no proof then. Okay. I'm good with that.
I mean,
Well, that was
there's
sort of
other
the
there's
stark
other things,
difference.
but I mean, what those other things have to do with I don't care.
That is
What
where
killed me.
That is where I'd like to add
Jesus
something.
Christ!
Sorry
If
to
I say
interrupt.
what killed me for another time and somebody interrupt,
It's
I'm
me.
gonna shoot myself.
I'm really sorry, Eli. And that's just where I did want to pipe up, because they still want to use the magic trick. So Chocolate saying, so, excuse the pun. Chocolate is saying that they haven't got any proof because they haven't got the scientific method. Okay, then. So good luck with proving ether. No. They still want to say science, because science to your average layman means proof, because that's exactly what it is. Now, the fact they haven't got science doesn't mean that they don't want to say it, because it's a really great magic trick. Works a charm. Even if you're talking about concrete nouns. Say science proves that. Or you can prove that scientifically. So that won't get called out, because it's a really useful trick when you haven't got any proof. Just say it and the audience thinks you're proving something when you're not. They don't want that to be messed with, because that's the grift. So that's why I'm being called a scammer. They don't put any stock in the scientific method, because them saying science, they still want to do it. That's it. That's the reason.
It's standard. It's the standard that we took us off the ball. They want to abandon, and as you say, what you have to. I can't say why, but I could make a good guess that I would abandon the standards that took me off the ball because I want to convince people that this viewpoint is correct. I'm going to use exactly the word science now, something that I've just decried. Yeah,
Adam,
but I don't want to destroy.
Sorry, the reason is, Adam, it's because if they have to accept scientific method, and if they have to accept that you have to manipulate the thing that you think causes the effect, it means that it puts Jaren on a direct collision course with Bob and Bob's Bobbity claim, and he has to dismiss that. And he's never going to do that, because now Bob's died. Obviously, he wants to preserve Bob's legacy, and he sees it as some kind of fucking shrine or something like that. He's never going to go against it, because he doesn't want to go against Bob. That's the reason why he has to dismiss it.
No. They need it. They need the strength of the word science to continue to talk to people about whatever they want to talk about, whether it's ether, dielectric, magnet, the things that they're going to use to and say to people is going to use. We've done this experiment, we've done this, we tested this, to prove it to you, that ether exists, that the reason things fall down if they're more dense than the medium is because of dielectric acceleration. They're going to make these statements. We've done this experiment. We've seen them with the Van de Graaff. We've already seen them. Nathan's right. They don't want to destroy it totally. They just want to lower its standards again, back down to where they were when we thought we lived on a ball, because science and experiments said so. That to me would be the best place for them, because it allows them to continue on pumping this shit, which is not substantiated with real science.
Somebody said it yesterday on the chat, right? They said it was fine when Nathan criticized ballers about all of this, but when we started calling out their BS, it was a problem.
Yep.
Speaking of that, okay, so now I can make my point. I found it very annoying, and what bugs me the most about the people that were in the chat like completely blinded to what was going on because they're just on a Nathan and a Nathan specifically hate train. All I saw was a repetition of the conversation that we were listening to the previous day with Professor Phil and what's his name, Mitchell from Australia, because during that entire conversation, Professor Phil, every time he had a rebuttal, Mitchell that is, or every time he had something to say, Mitchell had to step on his toes and say something while he was speaking. That's the exact same thing that happened yesterday with Jaron. Now, they're going to probably act like, well, Nathan asked some questions. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you continue talking after you've answered the question. You can't just justify him talking all over Nathan's toes for a freaking hour. That's insane that anybody would, not appreciate that happening.
Right. It's a lead-up question. It's not a oh, now it's your turn question.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the stark difference between them two, was that Nathan actually had empathy, and you could tell that he really cares about Jaron and was trying to educate him on something, but all Jaron had was disdain in his heart. And so here is a man who's getting, all the arrows thrown at him, and he's remaining calm and saying, no, actually, the independent variable is the one you manipulate, the dependent, what he was saying, right? I'm not going to go through it. But that just told me it was some deep, deep hurt that Jaron, for whatever reason, was expressing. He wasn't expressing at a point. He had no point. It was a disdain that he wanted to express. While Nathan was like, I love you, bro. I'm trying to teach you something. And, that's the difference. And you could see that or not.
Oh, you know what happens when you get in your feelings. That's what happens when you get in your feelings.
I wouldn't give Nathan that much of a hippie attitude. Yeah, I would say he was there. Yeah, to, as he said, go through what the formation of a hypothesis was, which is what he stayed on. Yeah, there was no interest in personality issues in the past. Yeah, the only thing was clearing his name. Yeah, but other than that, there was no personal thing in the way. After the point where Jaron has had to concede, even though not graciously in the slightest, that he's backtracked on the statement of science doesn't prove things, that's why Nathan's a scammer. He then changed it, and it was what he changed it into which was telling for me. It then became a personal thing. You did this to my friend Wixit, and a number of other things is the reason that you're a scammer now. Yeah? So that's was telling to me that Nathan was on track, and that's why it hopefully came over like that. Yeah, go on.
He backtracked on the statement of that's the reason that he called Nathan a scammer, was because Nathan is saying science proves shit.
Yes, that's what I was telling you earlier. Yes, and he also
worming himself out.
Just
he was saying, no,
said,
I didn't say that about you saying that. I was saying that about you scamming on other reasons. And I was like, okay, well, what's the other reasons? What's the other reasons that if it wasn't
other reasons?
This one particular thing that you're exactly
he said the other
as.
reason was also that Nathan was money hungry. Nathan's a scammer because all he thinks about is money. Nathan even admits it, that he's all about the money. That's exactly what that scumbag said.
Yeah, and boys, was Nathan even asked about that? No, because that's just ad hom, right? That's ad hom. It's not worthy of trying to get a retraction off. But to try and say that that's somebody, when you're talking about, the other bit, it's defeating our message. It's diluting the message. It's allowing them to pervert the message, isn't it? If you don't get a retraction there. It's what mattered, and that's what he got.
I'm still bugged out that on the face-to-face with the guy you're calling a scammer, now you backtrack on the very thing that you named him a scammer for. Wow.
Yeah, but not in any gracious way. Like I say, it wasn't the backtrack
No,
was there.
I know what you
but
mean.
it was
Not
instantly
like, yo,
replaced with
my bad.
Mm.
Not like in a version
Not
of
like
like,
that.
yo, my bad for saying that. More like, oh no, I didn't say that. Like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he tried to.
When we've been
like
listening to him for months, call us all of us scammers for saying that science proves things. That's cute. That's adorable, rather.
Yo, for
And
me,
that
though,
celestial
Sad.
navigation needs triangles.
I thought it was really annoying and pathetic.
That's
what I
that's
thought.
the other one, not just science, but remember triangles and on with celestial navigation. We're also scammers for that.
Hey, Kiwi, we need you to get on the clips, the contradiction clips where he's like, that wasn't what it was, and then go back to that episode he did where he literally called him a scammer for
No need. I did
saying
it live.
science-proof things.
I did it live. I just went. I've got a recording of it. It's like, oh, all right, go and get it then. Okay. So I just went and got it and played it.
After 2 minutes of ad homing from him nonstop, and then Nathan just came back and played it.
What was odd there was I don't know who was the moderator there, but they started nodding along with the science doesn't prove things in that bit.
The moderators were terrible.
Which I found odd for a moderator to just bother to side with an opinion in the middle of a debate when you've gone off to get something.
Well,
Little bit of
really much of
friendly critique there. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't require attacking. I'm just saying, very odd and not great moderating there. That's in the middle of the debate to start to agree with one side's points is weird.
He sucked as a moderator. He just sucked. Eventually, even Witsit felt the need to step in because the moderator didn't. That's bad.
Don't blame the moderator. No. I wish I hadn't done that. What I did was a bit unfair on the moderators because to put pressure on Jaren in the discussion or keep the pressure that I've already attained on my side while he's interrupting, my appeal to the moderators is, strictly speaking, as far as the moderator is concerned, a bit unreasonable. Yeah, he's interrupting me. You're going to have to deal with it. That's how I've had to deal with it on other debates. They're like, yeah, so what? Now, if you look during the show, he is muting Jaren. So he wants to do something, right? But once he's done it, he's like, but now there's probably a bit of conversation we've missed that we shouldn't have. So he stopped doing it. I'm like, good. I'm not going to tell you what to do in that regard. That's up to you. You've obviously felt that it's so egregious he needs to be shut down with the mute button, which is what the moderator eventually did. But by saying it, it's not actually for the moderator's ears. I've said this to our moderators. I say it to them all the time. When I say kick him out, it doesn't actually mean kick him out. It's for the ears of the person that hears the host saying kick him out. Because that's got more impact than you actually throwing them out half the time. Well, it was the same for Jaren. Me saying, what am I going to do, moderators? It's so that I'm not directly saying to Jaren, what can I do with you while you're constantly interrupting him? He's hearing it in the third person, so to speak. So it just has a greater degree of impact. But what it's actually done is made it appear like the moderators weren't doing it. No. Blame Jaren for that. Because he made it difficult for the moderators. That's what actually happened. Don't blame the moderators.
I didn't realize that the moderators eventually did mute him. I didn't notice that. All right, that changes it a bit.
Who said that was Shitsit in there?
Yeah, wasn't he? Nathan? Wasn't that Witsit?
I didn't hear Witsit in it, but can I say something? Jaren wasn't as aggressive with McToon Booger Eater as he was with Nathan. Isn't it interesting? Is that the elephant in the room we didn't recognize? His little passive, squeaky voice.
Yeah, I said it the other day, and the guy hinted at it earlier when he was trying to say that I'm reaching out with empathy to try, it's basically backing up through my actions in person with Jaren what I said I wanted to achieve and why I wanted to achieve it. And he's right. I know he said with an example that I love you, man. But, you know, why not? That's my attitude, wasn't it? I made that absolutely clear before I went on. So, yeah.
Nathan, was that Witsit that was with him there,
No.
or was that somebody else?
With him? No. It's just me and Jaren and the mods.
Oh, that okay. One of the mods really did sound like him then.
The hammer, maybe. APOC had to go halfway through.
Hammer it was Hammer.
In any event, just don't blame the mods. When Rumpus does his thing, do you blame the mods? No.
Nope. I started
What
that
are
bit, and
moderators?
what I
What are
wasn't doing was
moderators for then?
blaming the mod.
What are to moderate? So when he said, look, Jaren, can you just let him finish? That's him doing his job perfectly. That's all he needed to say, and he did. I then immediately jumped all over it. There's a low blow that Anthony could have leapt on, but he didn't. Right? I appeal to the moderators, win the appeal, and then go, yeah, Jaren, you shut your mouth and listen. Yeah, that's a low blow.
Yeah, but it's not that bad, though, is it, really? Because Jaren was in the wrong. He was projecting. He was doing the very thing that he criticised you about. He was doing it himself. You were appealing to the mods. The mods were then controlling it. Jaren was guilty of the crimes that he accuses you of. That's not a low blow. That's another fair comment.
Yep. And like I said, when he was going back and forth with McToon, it was like they were both giving each other scented candle lit massages to one another. Oh, did you reach right there? Oh, right there. That's they were so sensitive to one another. But he went hard on his so-called friend.
That's what bothered me. Like, that's like, you see, Nathan, this is your fault. You tricked me into thinking that you guys were having some kind of back chat and you guys had each other's numbers and it wasn't as bad as what Neil was saying. And I was like, maybe Jaren is going to hear it out and go, oh, okay. So no. He came out guns blazing like you slapped his mother or something.
There's two things, right? First, I tried to get this point. I lost my point halfway through off the back of D-Rose when I was talking about the other guy saying about, with Toon, it's inconsequential to me and Jaren. When I say I don't lose any sleep over the baller's nonsense, that's the same for Jaren with Toon. He doesn't care. He's not gonna rile up any emotions in Jaren, Toon, that is. Because he can't. He's got no feelings for him. Well, in the same way as I've said, I have got feelings for Jaren in that regard. If he's going to appeal to that and say, you need me for your views, well, no, that's not exactly right. But if you want to spin it that way, do what you like. But I am here to appeal to you because it will benefit you. Now, me doing that is clear to the audience and to him that I have a certain degree of compassion for him, regardless of the disdain of my tone when I'm talking to him. He knows that. My efforts are obvious in that regard, are they not? To anybody watching, including Jaren. Therefore, he knows that there's a certain passion behind what I'm doing that's aimed towards him as an individual. It is personal, in other words, right? That type of relationship can really annoy you. Can get you very upset and angry. The relationship he has with Toon can't. So, on the one hand, you can read between the lines and go, wow, what a load of vitriol for a fellow flat earther. Yeah, that's because he's actually had a relationship with me. I hate that word in that regard, but that's the only word that's correct. You have a relationship with customers, you have a relationship with your family, you have a relationship with your close family, and so on and so forth. Well, you have a relationship with people in your community, and that relationship gets built, a trust gets built, and then when something's perceived to be taken away from that relationship, it annoys you and upsets you more than it would with someone like Toon. That's why you've got the reaction. Yeah? It's the same for my reaction against Bob, because suddenly there's a perceived slight for someone that you've built up a relationship with, you've built up a trust with, then it hurts a lot more. You can only hurt the ones you love. Oh, isn't that sweet?
Yeah. He has relationships with Waterfall.
But I get what you're saying, Nathan, because it's almost like when you get cut by your family member to someone that you really put down your wall of trust with, you kind of lash out harder than you do the guy in the street. The guy in the street, you probably beat him down. That's about it. But someone that you really let your guard down, it stings more. So that may be why he was having a scented candle lit massage with McToon and barked at you like, man, you supposed to be my man. You know what I'm saying? But you're full of this and you're full of that. I think that's what it was. Yeah,
Hurts more. Exactly. It hurts more when I do it, basically. And that's indicative of his behaviour towards me. If he was indifferent, if he didn't care, like he's portraying, well, then you wouldn't care. You'd have indifference towards me. In other words, you genuinely wouldn't care. But clearly he did. Cared a lot. Too much, if anything.
Yeah, you're right. You're the husband, he's the wife, and that's how my wife responds with me. You know, other people she brushes off the shoulder.
Now you've said
and
that.
I hurt her feelings.
Oh, D-Rose's timing's
Hold
brilliant.
on a second.
There was a point. There was a point in it where I'm pointing out his projection. Everything he's moaned about me and my behaviour. I point out to him that how he's behaving is an entirely projected image of what he hates about me while he's demonstrating that behaviour, and he agrees. Then I point out to him, well, that's absolutely that's projection, and his response was, "You made me behave this way."
No way.
To the moon.
That's what my wife says. That's what
Right,
my wife
that's
says.
exactly what went. I didn't say it because I thought I've got to bite my tongue. If I say that, I'll go down in everyone's estimations. But it's like, right, exactly. So the beaten wife, she drove you to it, right, Jaren? Exactly.
Yeah, anybody that was there, I saw a lot of deep pain within Jaren, and yeah, a lot of love coming from you, Oakley. So, kudos.
Hey Nathan, I got a one-line summary. Can you please
Hold on.
As long as it's not in musical form.
Hold up.
One sentence.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hold up. I want to add to that, Nathan.
Did you not hear somebody say that they got a one-line summary?
Guys.
Did nobody hear him? I'd like the one-line summary. Yes, please.
So, you puny little fallible human, how can you even expect to have 100% of anything? That was his argument.
Wow. But you know
that.
Say that.
Nathan, where did
stayed
you
on the
go?
screen.
Hold on a second. Where did you go for like 5 minutes where we had to listen to this freaking fool diarrhea in the mouth? You disappeared. I don't know where you went.
Well, I was looking for the clip, so I couldn't find it by just... If I can't find a video that I've made and published on my own damn channel, what open people got when they're looking for my stuff? I don't know. Anyway, I knew that if I uploaded a video, there was a trimmed out version of it that appeared as a clip. So I'm like, I can't find it. So the next resort is, well, I know where or how I can find it, which is by uploading a video and then setting the trailer to that video, because it's right at the bottom of that list of trailers. So what I did to find the video, because I hadn't got it queued up, because I'm sure someone asked me, are you going to have any videos queued up? Nah, I'm really lazy. So no, I hadn't got a damn thing queued up. So the minute I'm like, yeah, I've got a recording of you saying that, you know you're being scammed when Nathan says that science proves this and science proves that, end quote, Jaren. That wasn't verbatim. But I hadn't got it to hand, so I had to upload a video, which is still there in draft form, so that I could go to the trailer section, find the video so I knew the exact title, so I could go back to my videos, search the exact title, pick it out, and then play it. And sod's law, I lied. Not lied, unintentionally said a mistruth, which is to say that I said that it's a completely unedited video. Well, I had actually edited out my name and put Dave's name over the top when Jaren's speaking. So back when I told Nathan, turned to back when I told... And it was really crude, Dave, because it's the host of the other show saying it. So I told him, no, that's completely unedited. Well, no, it wasn't, because if you actually listen to what's said in the clip that I played on the show, I've taken my name out and replaced it with Dave's to make the point that, so Dave gets a pass when he says science proves to these people on radio shows and podcasts, because he's not going through the scientific method and using it as a magic trick. So he gets a pass. But when I say you actually damn well better prove something when you use that word, I get called a scammer. That's the point of the video I made, but it ended up not being a raw cut. So on the video, when you see it, you can see there's no video cuts. Jaren's just saying what he says without any trims. But then, like I say, I've put over the top the word Dave instead of the word Nathan. So strictly speaking, I was wrong when I said, no, that's completely unedited. Then again, I just quoted it accurately, verbatim, having played it to a good enough effect that Jaron knew damn well that's what he said. And that's what like Chocolate and Eli were saying earlier. Are you kidding me? You've been spouting this about the entire panel for the last 4 or 5 months, calling us all scammers for saying science proves. Now you're going to double down on it because you've been proven that science can prove, you've affirmed it. So suddenly, no, I've got many reasons that I call you a scammer. Yeah, but what about the one that I'm here to address about science not proving things? Now you've conceded it, retract it. Nah, I'm going to go through all the other reasons you're a scammer. That was the point I left the discussion.
She made a video with MC Hammer, the song, and had you there dancing.
Well,
MC Hammer.
that little editing, Nathan, was minuscule and insignificant. You could have put McToon name, Rumpus, anybody name in that thing to replace with the Dave, whatever. The fact of the matter is, to add insult to injury, this dude stayed on the stream for 90 minutes like a wife would do with her girlfriend's on the phone or her mother.
Oh, poor baby.
Talking about, I don't understand why he doesn't listen to me. I try and I try. No, I try and I try and I'm trying to save this marriage. Jaron, you're
It was like therapy, weren't it, that last hour and a half? Like listen to somebody.
Wait a second. Where did you hear this?
It was live. It just kept going and going.
Dude, the stream stayed another 45 minutes to an hour.
Whoa. Because when I was watching it, the video just ended. Nathan left and it was over. And you were still watching shit?
Yo, the thing was still red. I wasn't watching it, but you could see the stream of Asylum was still red, showing that it was alive.
Yeah,
you look at
that was the Asylum's channel, I'm pretty sure.
And he was waffling, talking about, I try everything I think of. I went to therapy and counseling and just doesn't work.
I didn't see that part. It was fucking hilarious.
You piece of shit. Scumbag.
No, but seriously, what did he actually say in that 90 minutes or hour or whatever it is being claimed? What did he actually have to say?
That he tried to fix it and he just can't understand why you just can't understand. Yeah, it descended into that. I kept flicking in and out just to see if it was still going. But like I said, it sounded like more like a therapy session because I didn't hear anybody speaking every time I clicked in other than Jaron just repeating how hard he'd worked to keep it together and maintain the marriage. For whatever reason, Nathan just can't see it. He just can't understand why I need to sit all night and talk about blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It was just weird. Because surely, after half an hour, you think he's rounded his point. After, you know what I mean? And it just kept going and going. And that's why I alluded to, like, maybe it was very therapeutic for Jaron. You know,
and then you can hear in the background the two tissues get pulled out, and it was ridiculous.
So you're saying this live stream was a marriage counseling? That's what you're making it sound like.
When the other partner's gone, right? And what's important,
we got to know at least one thing about
you to
Jaron. I'm sorry, Adam. We got to know at least one thing about, we got clarity about Jaron's meaning of the word proof, because this appealed to the same thing that he did with science does not apply to mathematics. As he said, 2 + 2 is 4 is unequivocally a proof. But science does not prove things because of his appeal to fallibility of humans. Fallibility of humans does not apply to mathematics when we are doing 2 + 2 is equal to, but it does apply when we are using science, empirical, that if A, B, A, not B.
So let's
I'm
apply
sorry. Who created 2 + 2 = 4?
Let's apply that. So 2 + 2 = 4 is a mathematical fact. Agreed?
Jaron will agree to that. Yes.
It's a real life thing as well. I've got 2 apples, and somebody gives me 2 more apples. I've got 4 apples. Fact. It will never be 3.5 or 4.5 apples. It will always be 4 apples.
Right.
If somebody else
Let's go with that. So is that flat moon or is it half moon or what? New moon? Yeah.
That sounded like Flat Arthur.
No, that's very racist. Just because both of them are Irish, right? That's not fair.
Right, the guy talking. Let me just start. This is the conversation I wanted before, Nathan. So just oblige me. Let me just talk to this guy for 1 minute about this.
I don't
thing
think
that
it's
he's
the
talking
same
about.
guy, Tony. I don't think it's.
Okay,
Flat
well,
Arthur, that's you, right?
Flat Arthur. You're talking to Flat Arthur. The other guy was Indian, but it wasn't Flat Arthur.
okay. Apologies, but it doesn't matter. Flat Arthur. Do you hear me when I call your name?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So we can both agree that 2 + 2 does equal 4, mathematically, factually, always, correct?
Yes, I was talking about Jaren. He will also agree to that. Yes.
Okay, but when you apply that in real world, Jaren likes to start off with the word imagine. He did it last night with Nathan. So let's start with, we'll imagine that I've got 2 apples. And now I'm going to imagine that you're actually going to take 5 apples from me. How many apples am I left with? 2 minus 5. How many apples?
Does not apply to reality. If you got only 2 apples, I cannot take 5 apples from you.
Correct, which is the fundamental problem that we always try to point out. Just because you can do it mathematically doesn't mean you can do it in real world, even though the maths might be true.
And science
Agreed, yeah.
deals with reality and nature.
Chocolate, check your Discord.
Back to my question. Who created?
I agree, man. I'm friendly. I'm friendly, Anthony.
Yeah, Chocolate.
Who created this concept of 2 + 2 = 4?
You mean the language of maths? Well, we did.
Oh, we did. The same fallible humans that created the scientific method that we can't abide by because it was created by fallible humans. But those same fallible humans created mathematics. Okay. That checks out.
So I take it you'll all be
Chocolate,
just as
check
keen
your
in 6
Discord
months
messages.
when hopefully Jaren softened up to this idea that I make another attempt. You're not going to be.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yes, he did. He said that on there. He said that was Nathan's closing statement when he signed off. And my comment on the thing I was going to do a super chat was, I will throw across the pond a brick with a heat missile tagged to your name to crack you across your head if you do something ridiculous like
He's just trying to provoke us.
Maybe he needs
No,
views.
actually, I'm not. No. You'd think that there'd be enough of a bitter taste left in my mouth after trying to do it with Globebusters, but yet I'm still doing it. So, given history, wouldn't you say that that's not just trying to wind you up? I do actually mean it.
He's reconciling the marriage. He's reconciling the marriage.
There's no hope. Have you been keeping up on current events?
Hold on a second. I was on the other side of the room. Did I hear that there's going to be another attempt? What the freak is going on here? Another attempt for what? We have
Nathan?
to have a meeting. We have to really
Nathan?
have a serious meeting.
Nathan, he's cheated on you. He's been an infidel. He doesn't take care of the children. The house is a mess. What's the incentive? He's a terrible wife. And he whines about everything. And then he falsely accuses that it's your fault, that the house looks like crap and the children are dirty and that, the relationship is falling apart. Why are you reconciling this marriage? He's an ex-wife. Get rid of him. Let him go. Move on to other fish. We got to finish dealing with Dell and the Earth rising claims.
No, you're not being in plain English. Nathan, he's in love with Whitfish.
You gotta start before you finish.
He's in love with Shits at 60. He left you a long time ago.
That's the other man.
And that man is so smart, he will beat anybody in debate, and you just call him stupid. He will destroy QE. He will destroy Nathan. He'll destroy anybody on flat earth debate.
That's what he said. He said, my boo Whitson, he's smarter than all of them in FAD. I know you're not trying to tell me, don't talk about my man like that. He went to Harvard and Yale.
and he's trying to find out ether while you're talking about stupid elevation angles that don't prove nothing. Isn't this what we're about?
While he sits there
Finding
and
out things?
agrees with a glober. That you
Exactly.
can do that on a globe.
Chairman,
What
Chairman
globe?
said.
What
Chairman
globe
said,
again?
He
It's the
said
same one
something
you're
about a
supposed
sphere
to be
yesterday. He said,
debunking.
imagine we're on a sphere.
Lord have mercy.
Sorry.
Jaron said,
same
Whitsit is. Jaron said, Whitsit is my red-beard midget descendant of the giants.
Oh my god. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Did you all notice the setup grades today on camera with me? No?
We can't.
Got a new acoustic panel behind me. It's an extra 2 inches deep. Did you not notice?
Can't fucking see you.
On the when I was
Only in
introducing the
quality of
live
the
show.
sound, Nathan.
Sorry?
You just sounded better.
It's not going to make that much difference. I mean, you don't push the needle with a couple of panels, to be honest, but it looks aesthetically better.
I'm only humouring you now because we don't see you, do we?
It's just a joke. It's the panel's identical to the one that's outgoing, but it's now about 4 inches further off the wall. It's deeper, but obviously visually, what difference does that make? It was just a joke, but obviously it didn't go over. Don't worry about it.
Made your head look bigger.
We're gonna go over this video. Are we gonna go over this thing next week?
Chocolate, check your Discord messages.
What thing?
The Jaren thing, the one that you posted. We're gonna go over it.
Let us.
I think Arthur was about to engage in a prayer. Go ahead, Arthur.
Holy shit! Everyone, shut the
I'm saying
fuck
let
up.
us go over that. Yes, let us. Please do it.
So
you can do it, but I can't. The reason I don't want to do it is because whenever I used to listen back to people listening back to their own performances and critiquing their own performance, it gets really confusing listening to the same voice but one recorded and the other one critiquing the one that's recorded but sounds the same. So it's one where if I'm involved, it won't be very good. So yeah, you can do it.
We should do it. QA, me, you, and Betty.
I'll
Just
think
do it
about
on
it.
Ball Busters.
There's no ball busters. There is no ball busters for the next 2 Saturdays. Okay, I'll just leave it with me. All right.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's a bit crappy if I do it.
Yeah, I understand that. It would be quite confusing. Yeah.
Yes. It is. I've heard it. I can't remember. I'm sure there's one example where we did cover a show I had done, and I just listened back to it. I'm like, even I'm getting confused.
Then you got to start referring to yourself as past Nathan and all that. It's it's a lot.
Exactly. You end up saying, well done, Nathan from the past, and things like that, and it's just crap.
Better to have you in the chat trolling on QE Live then.
What's the name of this video for today? It should be Neil Told You So.
The only way to do it on Flat Earth Debate is for Nathan to not be involved. And somebody play the video through G+, which we can do, and then we can do it on Flat Earth Debate. And Nathan will have to just take a back seat for
I don't mind
the
doing
reasons
that.
just outlined.
That sounds quite nice, actually.
Get a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. I can just monitor the show like a producer rather than a show host. Yeah, I'm up for that. If you want to do it that way, I'm happy to sort of sit back and even if you can pump the sound through G+, and then you can control when you stop and start it.
Yep.
Neil, everyone's maybe it's because of the low standards that were in place before I went into it, Neil. Everybody seems really pleased, except you.
Regarding yesterday?
Whoa. What do you mean? I'm pleased with how you are. But you want me to be pleased at what that piece of shit said? I gotta hand it to you. because I would have threw everything out and just went right after him with that freaking 10-minute intro that he came in with. Those are fighting words.
You were exemplary, Nathan. I mean, I was waiting for the old bag of tricks.
Yeah, I didn't know how he held that. You just went right into the whole thing, which was beautiful. I would have had his freaking throat. I would have found a way to get my hands around his freaking neck.
That's what I was saying to you yesterday.
And that's you in your feelings, Neil. And that's what didn't need to happen. That's why
You
what
hear
Nathan
what he
did
said,
was
Chocolate?
excellent. It doesn't matter what he said.
You didn't
That's
even
the
hear what
point.
he said, and you're telling me that.
That's the point, is that
Yep.
it doesn't matter what he said. The
I don't
fact that
got
Nathan
control over that
skirted
part of my
all of that
emotions.
and went straight into the actual topic is what matters.
Exactly. And Chopper's
All
correct.
that feeling shit that you're talking about that got you riled up right now, that's what doesn't need to happen. It can happen here. That's fine. You can tell us we're your peoples and shit, right? We're your friends. But in the actual debate, that's not what you want to happen.
That's what Jaron would have wanted to detour, to distract and take Nathan away from what he was trying to accomplish. And
Exactly.
Nathan was perfect. He got on there and said, the scientific method with the
First of all,
hypothesis of
this prick,
Bro,
that prick said that we staged the shows. He
Let
said
it out,
nobody comes in here, and now we're going after other flat earthers. It doesn't say why they don't come in here. They don't come in here because they get destroyed.
Yeah. So, listen to all the things he said. Well, I said yesterday, what outcome did you want? What outcome were you hoping for? You heard what I described. Jaron
You guys were hoping for an outcome, not me.
Jaron over-delivered for me in a fantastic way. Yeah.
And you think that affected any of his followers? Answer me honestly.
Just hear him out,
Because
Neil.
there were people agreeing with him yesterday, right while it was going on.
It has. People are already saying it.
Go on, Adam.
Well, in simple terms, yes, I do think so. And as I said earlier, frankly, the polarized sides of this, look at us lot, and there's just as many on the Whitsitt Jaron side. Those polarized people, I really don't care what outcome they think, you included, because the only thing I'm paying attention to is the neutrals, like the bloke at the computer shop, like the people that have bothered to contact me on Twitter, yeah, and make the statements that I didn't think would be that obvious. I just thought we'd get to agreeing at best scientific method, but there's been a lot more eyes opened since last night, yeah, to the neutrals. And that's, when I say about it, look at where it descended. Nathan kept on talking. His only outcome was to disseminate that information. It was clear to everybody that wasn't, after being disproven for the reason they were there, that wasn't then Jaron's. He had other reasons to be there. All of them, for him to continue his behavior to be of a personal nature, which he disclosed. That's there for everybody to listen to. And then, like I say, I don't know what that meltdown was for an hour and a half, because I was not listening to it. But it was there for an hour and a half. That is not good, yeah, in terms of putting your case. It's like I said earlier, it's like you've been in marriage guidance, right? And, right, okay, well, you booked the session, so the husband leaves, and then the wife spends an hour and a half validating herself to the therapist.
That's all fine and dandy. But
Think
they're at
about
war
that.
with us.
What
That's
went
all I'm
on?
saying.
Everybody heard the crazy wife, right, stay in the therapy room for an hour and a half, being unrebuttable, yeah? An hour and a half after conceding the only point in the most, as Nathan said, scumbaggy way, yeah? The way it was conceded, the whole purpose of being there, she then hangs around in the therapy room for an hour and a half, convincing the therapist.
I understand that. How many people came in today saying Jaron was right? I counted 2. I'm working, so I can't hear everything. But you got Shikey coming in all bald now.
Doesn't matter.
Asshole, whoever that
Neil,
was.
Neil. Shikey doesn't mean jack. he will never face the truth. And whatever flat earthers or self-proclaimed flat earthers that believe in the incoherent dialectic acceleration thing are not going to, because that's all in the Jaren belief and that indoctrination. And the fact of the matter is, on the chat thread, it was nothing but globers that were coming from under rocks that I even saw before, saying stupid stuff like the thing I said that was mentioned about Nathan.
When
Shields.
you're surrounded with bullets hitting you on every side, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, does this
You're
mean
crying about the two people that came in and said that Jaren was right? Well, look who came in and said that Jaren was wrong. His own man, the Morguile.
There you go.
Not to point it out again, but he came in and said, yeah, I agree with Nathan. But for some reason, and obviously I'm paraphrasing, but Jaren's ego is getting in the way, and I don't understand what's going on. Now that's his man.
Who said
the
that?
Morguile.
Today?
In the chat today, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good news. Okay. I still want him dead.
Because that's because you're still in your feelings. Yep. Can you put? I understand you're Italian. I know. Right? But
Walker,
can you put that? Can you put that to the side for 30 seconds?
Nathan can handle it that way. He crossed the freaking line.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, you're just going to cause more hurt feelings, Neil, which is going to make everything worse. Let's just enjoy the victory.
Hey Neil, you ever heard?
I'd like to just share something for Nathan, because I like to give him updates on chats with Rufy. So one of the other,
but before you do, I was actually hoping you'd give me. I didn't hear what the like me. That's the reason I disseminated what Craig had told me in the computer shop. It was the first words out of his mouth, literally. Okay. Right. So what did you get on Twitter? I'll ask you about Rufy in a minute.
Okay. So at Red, which is my Twitter name. Did you see the debate between Jaren and Nathan? I didn't think Jaren was so arrogant or ignorant before that shit show. The numpty doesn't even seem to understand that there are different types of heat. Yeah? I don't get people direct messaging me very often, but that's a really telling thing to me. That's what I want to hear. That's what I wanted to get out of the conversation. Would people realise, what the scientific method is? Just hypothesis construction, as you said. But you never know, a couple of extra Easter eggs that people will show the true colours. And for me, last night, a lot of colours were shown and demonstrated. And I don't think people are oblivious to that, as the tweet demonstrates. Yeah. Arrogant or ignorant. Yeah. On what? Because we don't really care what kind of person Jaren is, but on that, because that's what that guy cares about. The debate. Not whether Jaren's nice, whether he'll be our friend again, whatever. They don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Nathan doesn't give a shit. But to get that information out for people to start to recognise it, brilliant. And to see and to be able to analyse the quality of argument and describe it as arrogant or ignorant, that's a win for me.
And I'm going to use this analogy and metaphor again, back to it. We all know, and I'm not saying this to be misogynistic, but women's words, they're very good. We may outdo them physically, but they can cut you down with some words. And he was a traumatized woman. That's what he sounded like, who was upset and was appalled. And he just had to let himself be heard. So he's going to say certain things that's, way out of line and overboard, but because he's trying to reciprocate that pain back to Nathan that Nathan bestowed upon him. So you have to understand that. And that's the way I looked at it. It was, the more mature one dealing with the immature
Or did
one.
he realize that he bestowed it upon himself by declaring that we're scammers for saying that science proves things? But
Does your girlfriend...
when confronting the scammer, you backtrack on that and say, no, that's not what I said.
From my history of being married for so long, my women have never admitted that they were wrong or that what they said was the reason for why I said what I said. It's always
Short-term.
I'm trying to go, and I get that, but I'm trying to go beyond the ad hom of calling him a woman. I'm just saying that when confronted after months of calling this panel scammers for telling people that science proves shit, while him and his boys running around saying science proves ether and incoherent dielectric, whatever the hell. Okay. But so one side it's cool, the other side it's not, because they're your friends. So there goes your standards right there. Right. Yeah, I understand standing up for your friends, but I'm sure if anybody here, if I were to start saying science, doesn't prove shit, we'd go at it. We'd have words. So why
No,
doesn't
chocolate.
he
That's
just
why
want to have
it's
these
important.
words? What? Go ahead.
Chocolate. That's why I
Yes.
pointed out that he had no problems with mathematics. That 2 plus 2 is 4. He did not have a problem with that. He had a problem when fallible human beings are constructing a hypothesis. That is
Yeah.
why he was talking about 100% proof of something and maybe 90% or 80%, 50% proof of something. That is where it
I
boils
get.
down to. That
I
if
get
it is
that.
not a proof,
I pulled out that
then
irony already. I pulled out that
yeah,
irony when I said who created the notion of 2 plus 2 equals 4? Those same infallible humans. So you just shot yourself in the face again. So you trust math, but you can't trust science. Is that what it is? I didn't know this was a math debate.
I'm trying to
Thought it
understand.
was
I'm
about
trying to
science.
understand myself. Yeah, I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
this argument myself. That why is it okay for maths to say that 2 plus 2 is 4, but not okay to say logically non-contradictory statements like if A then B, if A then not B. Then it is equally applicable to logic also. If it is applicable to an abstract concept like mathematics, then it has to be applicable to abstract logic. And that is what we use in the scientific method. Voila.
And just have keep that same energy, right? If we can't trust the scientific method because fallible humans came up with it, so we can't trust math. So 2 plus 2 might equal 5 one day. Who knows? Because those fallible humans who created it, that's the problem.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Keep
He
that
has
same
to
energy,
say that
bro.
tomorrow 2 plus 2 may be equal to 5. That's the stupidity of his argument. That is what I wanted to point out.
Yes, indeed.
I got to shoot, guys, but just one last bit on like the broader picture. So, like I said, I got Rufy. The first message at stupid o'clock this morning. Jaren nailed you guys 100%. Completely catastrophic to you to admit you were wrong about anything. And he sends a picture of a house of cards. So I just responded with, and this is where we've got them. Okay.
Wow.
Look, they've tried to attack. So I said, so you also believe that science does not prove things? Listen to this crust the screw of an answer. Correct. Correct. If my hypothesis is true, then I expect a certain result from my experiment. I got the expected result from my experiment, therefore my hypothesis is true. Textbook affirming the consequent. Right? Next paragraph. Obviously, if you don't get the results that your hypothesis predicts, then you've disproved it. Thumbs up. He then goes on to try and attack Kiwi, which I told him go away. They don't know what to deal with it. Yeah? Where do they come down on this? They can't come down on our side. Look what they did. First thing is to support Jaren in the back door as if that's a real thing. What went off last night by going, yeah, we got destroyed last night. With what? That's what I asked him. And then he comes up with a contradictory statement. Yeah? Obviously, if you don't get the result that your hypothesis predicts, then you've disproved it. So I have proven something then, Rufy, yeah? So science proves things then, Rufy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's too stupid to
They're on
recognise the
their side.
contradiction.
Yeah.
Yes. Good stuff.
Luffy is nothing but the doggone sister-in-law.
This sounds like the same conundrum they drew up for themselves when they told us, "Hey, stupid flat earthers, why do you think it's flat? Science proves we live on a globe."
And with that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hit me up on PayPal and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!